Welcome to Nerdy, Drunk, and Stoned. What is it? It's Saturday? Saturday, May the 9th. My name is Adam. I'm joined once again by Michael and Jason. What have y'all been up to this week, guys?
Back at work. And playing the same old shit. I think we played a little bit of Rocket League and Starcraft 2 this week. So I guess Starcraft 2 is different. We tried to give that a shot this week, I guess.
We've been going
Getting back into it.
Hard? Oh, we played like 10 games as 3v3s. Me and you played some 2v2s. It's definitely making me feel very mortal. very, very lacking. Very, very lacking is the way I'd put it. So,
yeah.
I feel like trash just because I'd never purchased Legacy of the Void back in the day, so
I don't think I did either.
I
was
watched
looking
a
at my
little bit.
achievements, and I've beat it. I beat the other two, like all the hard missions, but I haven't played a single campaign game, so I guess I didn't play Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, so my biggest issue is just dealing with the new units that I have watched in tournaments, but I've never actually physically used or had to fight against.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I watch the GSL or something, like I recognize all these units and I know what most of them do. Like I'm aware that whatever the Terranair thing is, infiltrator or something. I'm aware that it's like it can be like an air siege tank, and the Protoss have the Death Ball air guys. Like I know what these do, but yeah, I have no like. I'm like, oh, what do I counter that with? Like I don't know. Like, so yeah, it's definitely making me feel a little silly, tasteless, and Artosis they'd just be mortified by my play. I'll tell you that.
When we're all three playing together, I have to give Adam credit because Adam builds the most immaculate looking bases, as well as the fact that he builds bases on top of our bases. So
yes, I have many of Adam's buildings fucking lighting up my base. It's very nice.
I'm trying to provide cannon support, okay? Why
No,
are you...
I gave you credit. Your macro, like your base building is great. It's just, yeah, it's weird. I'll be like, holy shit, Adam has so many gateways. And then I'll be like, holy shit, where are Adam's units?
Yeah, the big problem
and then we'll watch the replay and I'll be like, oh, he has 4,000 minerals. So,
yeah, the biggest issue is that we were playing the StarCraft 1 remake this past, since it came out so much.
Yeah.
And your economy is so much lower, or it grows so much slower, because in StarCraft 2 you start with so many more miners.
Yeah, you start with
So
12
I'm not
now, yeah.
I'm like, why I have all this fucking money that I don't know how to spend, and I can't spend it fast enough.
Yeah, it feels like a much faster game than when I play. I was looking at actually our replay history. We played like 3 years ago, I think, when the hurricane, or when we were out for a hurricane because it flooded down here. We
That
played
makes sense.
that for a bit. We all played, and then before that, it was like 7 years ago. So yeah, like the game feels so much faster. Like I remember, what the old build orders were like. Oh, 8 SCV supply depot. 11 racks. Now it's like 11 racks. You start at 12. Like, what are you talking? Should I go build like 2 racks immediately? Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing.
Do you like that change though? Do you like?
100%, 100%. It makes it. One of my biggest complaints about games like League and Dota is the time a short match is 20 minutes, and that's if everyone forfeits. If people don't want to forfeit, even if the game is over, you're looking at like a 30-minute game. At a minimum. Exactly. A good game's going to take you an hour. Like, I feel like I don't have time to do that. I do have time. I have like 4 or 5 hours I can sit here and play games. More if I'm off. But I don't want to commit my 5 hours to 6 games, where StarCraft, starting off at 12 units, I mean, you're hitting like late game builds fucking 12 minutes in, So if your game lasts that long, so yeah, you can get 6 games of StarCraft 2 in an hour, easily.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like it's so it doesn't even matter like that beginning gameplay as much because, I mean, you're gonna be building peons
Oh,
one way or another.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
yeah.
why
Peons.
why spend that
Peons.
why spend that shoe leather,
Yeah.
and just eat up time? Like
No,
it's
it seemed silly when I first got on. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But within like 2 games, I completely understood it. Yeah, you're gonna chew 3 minutes of, okay, I built up to 10 and I'm building my first racks before a Marine ever comes out, or I got my second expansion as Zerg or a spawning pool, whatever you want to do. And yeah, it's like, okay, cool. That's already been 5 minutes. Where this game, like now it just skips all that shit. And it goes, look, everyone's gonna build workers. That has to happen. So here's 12 of them. Like, go crazy.
Mhm.
You know,
Adam,
I
what do you
like it.
think? What do you think of the changes?
It makes sense. It definitely feels like a completely different game to me almost. I mean, you have all the same units, and you're gonna have similar strategies,
I don't
but
feel like it
it
feels like a
expedites.
different game.
I just think it expedites so much that it feels.
Well, I just think you start. It feels like I'm starting 5 minutes into a match. That's literally. It feels like my jumping point is 5 minutes and boom, go. Like go. Whatever you want to do. You go on fast tracks. You go on, or yeah, 4 barracks. You go on quick factories, quick air, quick banshees. Like whatever you want to do, you can do it in 4 minutes instead of like 8. To me, it feels like the same game. It's just starting much later into the game. So, which I have
That's
no problem with.
that's
Like
true. I
Mike
think
said, it was just busy work. That's all. It just got rid of the busy work.
I think the one thing that's crazy is if I wanted to, I'm obviously a pro or just even someone who plays the game regularly would know the timings, but I'm pretty sure that you could fast expand within maybe 30 seconds to a minute
Yeah, a lot of these
just with
people
the miners
do.
that you have.
When I
Zerg can
watch,
expand at 40 seconds.
yeah, when I watch the GSL, Zerg, and they don't just expand once, like you're saying, Mike. I see Zergs literally open with, 2 expansion openings. Like that's common.
Mhm.
A Zerg, their first 2 moves are build drones, build expansion, build drones, build expansion. Like and back in I guess when you started with like 4 miners, 8 miners, whatever it was, like yeah, that was probably a death sentence if the Terrans scouted that. If anyone scouted that, you were probably done. Nowadays it's kind of like a viable opening. So
I mean,
but it's interesting. I mean, I have no qualms about what the game is. My biggest gripe is it just makes me feel like fucking trash when I play it. So
that's one of the biggest arguments I have for that it's a superior game to StarCraft 1. Not only are the mechanics easier to control, but the fact,
That is
yeah,
a
it
strong
is a
argument.
strong sta
That
yeah,
is a
but I have a lot of game time on both games, so this
I
is not
I
unfounded.
I think that they are just they share a name, but they're different games. I mean,
yeah.
you'll agree with me, I'm sure, Mike. StarCraft 1 is all micro. I mean, mostly every engagement is important to micro because it hinges on if you're going to win or lose that engagement. In StarCraft 2, you can get away with a
It's
clicking
because
early. Late
it's a
game not so
mixture.
much, but yeah, late game you need to focus on micro, but it is a game that you can win without microing so hard.
But
I'm sure there's people.
does streamline necessarily mean it's easier, like less like a high or lower skill
No, it's a
level?
different kind of skill. I feel like this game is really heavy on macro management. I noticed my biggest downfall is, oh, cool, I did that first attack. Whether that worked or not, I'm like, oh shit, now I'm sitting on 1,000 minerals. Cool. I even remember to expand and build buildings, but past that, they've all been sitting idle in my base while this is going on.
Mhm.
Sure, I microed my engagement well, but now I don't have anything coming out. So
I feel
Adam?
like there's people that are probably so good at both games that are just rolling their eyes so hard.
no, they're different games. I don't think anyone would disagree that the games, while
No, not different games. I just mean just the micro macro difference argument.
yeah,
There's different microing in StarCraft 2 because there's different units, especially in the very beginning of the game. And you're right. Like, with Zerg being able to fast expand at 40 seconds, we're looking and for the Zerg, Queen slash Hatchery is their barracks.
Oh, you're
So
actually right. Yeah. Because you rush a Zerg down with 8 Marines and they're sitting on 3 Queens. And as long as they can macro that correctly, like, you are not going to beat that.
yeah, it's real
So,
tough. But yeah,
yeah.
I think you guys are both right in the fact that it is macro intensive heavily with the amount of minerals and stuff, resources that you get now, especially when they start you off. Early game feels like mid game now, but I just don't see that as necessarily a negative. I enjoy not spending 40,
I
40,
agree with you.
40 minutes like playing one game.
Yeah. I like jumping in literally and the action starting as early as, 3 minutes in. Like, speaking of funny builds, I literally just saw some Zerg do a Nidus Canal. 3 base, early Nidus Canal, and he sent like 12 links, put 6 queens through. And he won like that. And I was like, aha, that's funny.
What, in GSL?
Yeah. It's a replay. They're showing like clips. I guess it's surreal. They're showing clips of his victories. And I was like, that's funny. He won with a 6 queen rush. Okay.
Was
But
it
Oh
anyway.
God, I remember crazy strategies like that. I forgot.
Oh God.
Fucking,
We
I
should
still
really
love
just
it.
cannon rush people. I mean, Adam is
Is that what we
amazing.
should-
Yeah, Adam's amazing
It
at this
works
building.
well. You're right. Why don't you should cannon rush into Void Rays? It worked very well on us when we get hit by it. I mean, and you'll already be like teched up for end game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're already teching early Void Rays. So then as long as me and Mike can just, and I'm Terran, so naturally I turtle. It's like, yeah, if you just start going Void Rays and shit, it'll be like, oh look, now we have a whole army of Void Rays. Cool. Or you can use the big orb guys or carriers, whatever the fuck you want.
We could just creep our way up towards the enemy, just lay out
No.
cannons, and then set up siege tanks in case they
Yeah.
do try and hit us.
I just feel like that never. It's like, oh, congratulations! Here's 80 mines, or here's whatever else. It's kind of. I hate that game. I love it, but I hate it, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It does make me feel like trash. Rocket League just makes me feel like mild trash.
Rocket League I'm getting better at, but
Nah.
I finally make it to
Every
silver.
time I think I'm
I
doing
finally make it
well,
to silver, and then I fall back down.
Yeah, every time I'm like, yeah, I'm getting better at this. It's like I play a game where I'm like, nah, I'm trash. Like I'm really bad.
I mean, I would disagree. You're way farther along than most people that have played the game. Like, you definitely play like you've been playing for a while. Adam, on the other hand, he has like these flashes of brilliance where I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe Adam just did that. But then Adam, like, once in a while, like, messes up on the fundamentals as well.
Mhm.
But
Well,
I
see,
mean,
so that's what kills me. It's like I can play StarCraft and I know what the fundamentals are that I need to be working on. Like if I wanted to, I go play 1v1s and I know, hey, I need to tighten up these build orders. I need to micro better. Like I know what I need to do. In Rocket League, I watch some videos and try to like practice these training things like circle dribbling and air control, and I sit there for like an hour and do this, and I feel like I'm literally like just spinning my wheels. I'm like, I can't dribble any better than I fucking used to. I go play games and I'm like, I don't feel any better. Like I feel like I just wasted an hour of my life. Which I'm sure again, pros are like, oh, an hour? Like, why don't you try it for like a fucking day, man? And I'm like, nah, I don't feel like it.
Yeah, because they have thousands
Yeah, of
of
course.
hours.
Yeah, it's which I'm sure. Hey, but I'm sitting here saying I'm shit. If I put 100 hours into the game, if I put fucking 70 more hours in, I'll be like, yeah, I'm way better than I was. It's any of these games should just get better by actually playing it. So
Yeah, some of the games that we were best at, like Halo 2, we had fucking
yeah,
we had countless. I'm not sure.
yeah.
did
You
There were
all know,
probably
yeah. I think we
there were
can all
probably
agree.
thousands of hours into
Yeah,
that.
the way you get better at a game competitively is literally you just play the game and then while you're playing the game you focus on improvement. It's not the funnest technique ever, but it works,
did they release any more information? Because I know they were supposed to with like with launching of the Xbox Series X,
Oh,
I believe.
it's the gameplay. They
Yeah,
launched
They had
gameplay.
a huge announcement
Yeah.
event in which they told us everything we already knew about the system, and then they played trailers.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it was long too. It was like 2 hours, an hour and a half. I like tuned. I didn't watch it live, but I looked at. I was like, so where's the gameplay? I'm like clicking through. It's like, dude, it's just people talking about the fucking console. And then yeah, you look up, IGN or people post like oh look, the 13 game reveal with gameplay, and yeah, it's fucking 4 minutes of like trailers or something. I mean, it was more footage than that, but like the gameplay footage could have been condensed in like 2 minutes, like the median. Oh, here's a new title. It's all cinematic. And then you literally have a guy be like, and here's some fresh gameplay. And it's like 20 seconds of like, look, she's walking with a flashlight. Look, wow, look, she's looking at this thing coming to Xbox One. Like, or Xbox, what is it called? X? Xbox One X? Is that right? What is it
That
called?
sounds about right. I mean, there's only so many
They're
Title.
calling it the Series X or the X series. So
Xbox Series X. Why don't they just call it Xbox 4? Just take a page out of fucking Sony.
because there's gonna be,
I just call it
I think-
Xbox. They should just call it Xbox every time. Just do like a movie thing. You're on the 4th. You did movie 1, 2, 3. Pull the Hollywood and be like Xbox. And people are like, wait, isn't this the 4th one?
Oh man, it'll be the Xbox. That'll be the
Yeah.
next version.
Yeah, but
It'll
it's
work.
like it's the same shit. Oh, they showed old gameplay of Cyberpunk. They showed the new Assassin's Creed trailer that premiered 2 days prior. They announced like 4 new games, but none of them are heavy hitters. None of them were flagpole. Like I think the median looks cool because it's by like the people that did Layers of Fear and stuff, and I like horror based games. But yeah, there was no Halo, there was no Forza, there was no Gears of War. I think like you're hyping up this big the first gameplay reveal of our big system, and it's just sure there are new games. There's a few of them, but there's nothing like there's Madden 21. Never mind, guys. There's Madden 21. Like come the fuck on. I'm not gonna buy your system because it has Madden on it.
You guys have both been. I mean, I've known you guys for like a really long time, and you guys have always been the Xbox consumers, in our group of friends.
I
Now,
buy every system for the record.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Halo was a big system mover for me. Honestly, if I think back to Xbox Original and 360, I mean Xbox Original, we played some RPGs because I think BioWare used to make exclusive RPGs. Like I think Jade Empire when it came out was exclusive. But when I think of the Xbox Original, I mean it's Halo, Jade Empire, and I mean I really could not tell you what else I played on that system.
Is Infinite like if let's say more information comes out on Infinite, if it's good enough, is that going to be enough for you guys to buy that console?
I'm buying Halo. I'm
Uh,
buying Halo Infinite regardless.
Yeah, I
Wow,
hate to.
wow.
I'm a
I
fucking
really
Halo
hate.
fanboy. It's the way it works.
I have
Wow.
Don't get me wrong though. I'm pessimistic because I mean 343. That is who's making it now, right? It's 343. It used to be Bungie. They left after 3.
Yeah, but Halo 5 wasn't bad.
I feel like a lot of people would disagree with you on that. A lot of people say and
It was
agree
a huge improvement over.
was garbage.
It was
I mean-
huge improvement over Reach. It was a huge improvement over Halo 4, and it was a
Was the
huge.
multiplayer good out of the gate? Is it good now?
I thought it was good. I thought it was good out of the gate. People
Okay.
just didn't understand how to play it anymore because it had been since Halo 2 that there was actually quality, high skill ceiling.
So Halo 4 was still with the 360, right? Yeah. Oh, it came out on Xbox One and 360. Okay, so Halo 4 was 360. So my problem was Halo 4 just left such a bad taste in my mouth and I know some people do like Reach, so I'll bring up Reach for just 1 second. Like Reach was kind of
Those people are wrong.
where the multiplayer was like taking a dive for me because it added in like kind of Call of Duty abilities and
That's
sprint.
all it was.
But and even then, I'm not dogging sprint. Like sprint can work in Halo, sure, but Halo 4's multiplayer to me was so bad, and their campaign was really terrible too. Their campaign felt like like a slog to play, and I really do like the Halo campaigns. They're what I play first. Adam goes to multiplayer first. I go to campaign, and Ford was just so shitty to me that I didn't even pick up an Xbox. I didn't even play 5. I had like no desire to play 5 because I could not care less about the story.
I
I was
think
like,
4 and Reach are just these.
and then you
4
don't
and
even play
Reach are
as
these
Master
all-time
Chief.
lows.
Yeah. So again, I'm just saying that you have a miss, and in your opinion, the multiplayer is good. Let's say the multiplayer is good. Your story is still a big shit. So you have like 2 misses and a hit with multiplayer. But I'll even say that, they botched Master Chief Collection for like a year before that was even good. So you actually have 3 misses. You had the Master Chief Collection, which should have literally moved your console. You have Halo 1 through 4, your flagship. All multiplayer, anyone can play it. Oh, guess what? Your multiplayer doesn't work for a fucking year. Like,
Yeah, you gave
okay.
everyone what they wanted, asking for Halo 1 online on Xbox Live, and they fucked it up.
Not even that. I mean, you just craft something that's so like fan driven. Halo 1 through 4, multiplayer, multi-playlist, all this shit. I mean, it's like a dream. And then it just literally doesn't work for like 2 months. And then it kind of works shittily for the next like 6 months. And now it's great. But I mean, who plays your game after like such a rocky launch? And anyway, so I'm just saying like 343 does not have a good track record. And yes, Halo Infinite is exciting. Will it have, will it be a battle royale? What will they do different? Who knows? But I want it to be good. Will I pick up a whole system to play it? Maybe if I hear that it is a like return to form for this series. But you're coming off of like 3 misses. I just can't. I can't think that they're gonna pull it off.
Yeah, we're gonna see gameplay and trailers and shit
As someone
coming up
who's
shortly.
as someone who's not as well versed as you guys are when it comes to Halo, it is very romantic in the sense of like when Halo was first coming out, when we were kids and Halo was first coming out, it's very reminiscent of those days where, everyone was like, hey, come over to my place. We're all going to
Yep.
play Halo.
Yep.
And it really seems that like the consensus, at least with you guys, seems to be that the earlier Halos were the superior ones.
Halo 1 and 2 are by far. It literally goes Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 5, in my opinion.
I definitely think they were too. In the sense of it's kind of like GoldenEye and I'll say like for PC people, like yeah, clearly there were PC shooters that were very good at the time. Uh, I'm sure if you played CS 1.6, Halo 1 felt like a fucking crawl to you. But that being said, for a console shooter, yeah, I mean Halo 1 introduced LAN. 16 player fucking LAN capability, four player split screen. It was and like great gameplay at the time. And Halo 2 did the same thing. Halo 2 basically created like Xbox Live matchmaking and showed its potential, what it could be. These were really like they set the bar for this, like they were the gold standards for FPS at the time. Nowadays, your market has like really big competitors. Even you could say like Gears of War kind of eats into it a little bit, but I mean obviously bigger names like fucking Call of Duty and what I guess Fortnite nowadays.
Which is exactly my point. If Call of Duty, or I mean, if Halo Infinite decides to pick up on like what Call of Duty is doing, where you can customize attributes and you can customize
That's
oh
weapons.
my
Halo.
god,
That's
that's
Halo
Halo
Reach.
Reach, yeah, and I don't think the fan base you can see they turned away from
If I
that with
wanted it,
5.
I would go play Call of Duty.
Yeah, they turned away with that with 5. They just made 5 faster. Like now you have built-in sprint, but it's not so ability based. But what a lot of people think they're going to do with Infinite is kind of follow that Fortnite battle royale trend. People think there'll be traditional multiplayer, but
There's
maybe like
fucking better be. That's all I gotta say.
yeah, maybe a battle royale will be tacked on a la Call of Duty 4. You know, where hey, yeah, there's still all this traditional shit that everyone likes, but we also, here's battle royale mode. So
I mean, the only reason I couldn't get into Halo growing up, um, I was always kind of a spectator, like listening to you guys talk about it. It was for me, it was Counter Strike. That was like its biggest
yeah,
competitor. Was I mean, as far as online competitive play, it was like,
yeah.
do you play Counter Strike or do you play Halo?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, back then I fanboyed really hard for Halo, but nowadays, like as an adult, I can completely understand why like PC people were like, dude, Halo's trash. Like, and I'm not saying that it's trash. I'm just saying if you come from PC where you have mods and these humongous communities with servers and fucking, everything that was available to you on PC at the time would be like, wow, you guys can land 16 players and have like a couple of game types. Like, wow, who gives a shit? Like, we're playing Counter Strike, which is literally a mod of another game, you know?
So the question is, like, we haven't played a whole lot of it, but we played the original Halo 1 Master Chief Collection on Steam, and now you've got Halo 2 coming out on May 12th, which is Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah.
Are you
Right.
picking it up?
Yeah, of course. I
Are we
mean, I
gonna
already
go
own
back? Are
Master
we gonna go
Chief.
back into our heyday and try to relive
I'm
that?
not. I'm not gonna get good at double shotting. I'm not gonna fucking. I feel like I'll be good enough that I'll be fine. I really do mean that. Like Halo 1, that those skills have fallen by the wayside. I could probably pick it up if I wanted to. I feel like I'm perfectly decent. Halo 2, I'm going to be much better at simply because of the time we put into it. But I mean, I'm still just gonna play it casually. Like, what we're gonna go pro in Halo 2 in 2020,
No, that's
like
not what I meant.
no, yeah. So like
Just
I'll
the fact
play
you
it.
intended to dive in.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's Halo 2, dude. I'll say this: when we play Halo 1, like it's probably fun to me for like an hour, and then like the movement and things feel so slow to me. Like the mechanics just feel outdated, and I hate to shit on that game like that, but it really does. Like it feels dated to me. As someone that never played Halo, Mike, I'm sure. I mean, I feel like I'm talking for you. Like,
Very
you feel
much
like the
so.
game is dated, right?
As
Like
Mike
when you play
Mike
it,
would say it, the game's easy.
I, I would
yeah,
say
game's
this:
simple,
the shooting mechanics are, they seem pretty normal, but
tight. Yeah.
the movement capability, I feel like there's a lot of delay. It's real sluggish compared to
Oh yeah.
any other first person shooter now.
I wasn't even big into Apex, but like when I play, I can play a game like Apex and it feels like smooth, fast. Apex almost makes like Call of Duty's movement seem a little like obsolete. And then I go and play Halo 1 after playing like COD 4 very casually for like a month and Apex for like a month. And then I pick up Halo 1 and I'm just like, I mean, no wonder you have to time everything and nade throw every fucking weapon in the game because you can't get to it. Like, you can't get there fast enough. And yes, the shooting is so tight that you can't, like, there is no, like, movement based kind of strategy. That's just something that doesn't exist in that game. Like, there is no taking cover, there is no whatever, whatever you can do in these other games. Like it is just if you are caught out, like you're dead, and you have to control the power ups. Like that
Like,
is what that game is.
yeah, like the bunny hopping from Quake. That's sort of, I think, PC people would look down on Halo players. They're like, "Oh, you think your game is
But no, bunny
so
hopper.
good?"
Fucking just go type in Quake gameplay, dude. I mean, that shit's like Halo times 5. You know, it's like Halo at 500% movement. Like it's just such a faster game.
Yeah, go watch Fatality play and tell me that
Yeah,
Halo 1
they
player.
had Tribes back then too. You know, like Tribes was a big game too, and that's
true.
yeah. Like
I
that's a
remember
game
playing
about
Tribes.
speed. Yeah, Tribes 2 was great. I'm fucking sad that it's dead, but whatever.
Playing Halo 1, my biggest issue was the fact that you couldn't sprint a little. Like, it's ridiculous to me that I have to jump everywhere. Like I'm bunny hopping everywhere to move a little bit faster. But I feel like if there was a sprint function, that Halo 1 game would feel just as satisfying, just as up to date as any other first person shooter now.
I mean, it's on PC now, so I'd be curious to see if anyone
like a mod or something.
If anyone actually decides to try to mod it, or Halo 2 or any of the other Halos they decide to put out on Steam.
Pop into like a 200 or like a double speed server or some shit. That would be interesting, actually.
Yeah, like maybe someone can improve the original.
I don't think
it was thrown together anyways.
What do you say, Mike? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I don't think purists like our friend Will would ever accept a modification of Halo 1.
I'm not gonna.
He wouldn't.
Yeah,
he's not gonna playing it.
Like, what is this Frankenstein of a game?
No, the hardcore community would never accept any change to the original.
To any, whatever the hardcore community is for any game, whether it be Halo or something else. You know, you change a balance for my favorite champion in League of Legends. Like, oh, fuck this game. Like, this game's trash now. Like, it's always any change, that is new is gonna get a huge kickback from people that have invested hundreds of hours into playing the game this specific way. And I mean, to their credit, it'd be like if you change chess today. Hey guys, the horse is gonna move a little different. We want to change the balance. You know, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you can't just change the way the horse moves. That's my favorite unit. Like,
it's the best one, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's true. Have y'all been watching anything this week?
No.
Any shows in particular?
The Office.
So you didn't watch anything new? You just put The Office on in the background like usual?
Jade puts The Office on the background. I get bored sometimes, and I look over and go, "Oh, this is a good episode." This is the one.
Yeah, that's why I switched to Community, because The Office was getting kind of repetitive for me.
I think Charles just got kicked off. Michael Scott. Michael Scott got his old job back, which that whole little arc is so great. I hate to talk about The Office, but I was like watching it. I was like, man, this little, when he makes a Michael Scott paper company, man, I was like, I love this whole little arc that they do. Like, it's great.
I mean,
it's the only time he seems intelligent in the show, because they're offered money and he's like, no, we need jobs.
Yeah, he makes the smart move. Yeah, Ryan's like, what does he say? He's like, you just cost me $60,000. It's like, why do you assume that you're getting $60,000?
Yeah, why do you assume you're getting the $60,000?
It's so crazy though, because every time we're hanging out and you guys have like The Office in the background, both of your houses literally start shaking at the beginning of the intro.
So it makes me laugh because I can't hear it through my headphones, but then I'll hear like boom, 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 boom.
Exactly.
And I'm like, is there like dance music on behind me? Like, and oh no, it's just The Office intro. Like,
that intro is so loud.
It's so intense for a very quiet, like if you watch The Office intro, I feel like it does not match the show whatsoever.
Oh, but you know, it's short. It's just what it is. It's catchy, I guess. Like Bob's Burgers. Every time we would put that on, we would like turn it down because we'd be like, oh, the intro is like very loud. And then like the show comes on, everyone's like whispering. You're like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't watched anything. Whatever.
The only thing I've watched was Living with Yourself. It's a Netflix special with Paul Rudd. I haven't finished it completely, but
is that like a comedy thing or a documentary?
Dark humor.
Okay,
for sure.
Is it a show or?
It's a series.
Okay.
It's an 8-part series. I'm right near the end of it, but that's pretty much what I've been watching. I know Adam has been watching something that we're all deliciously waiting to talk about.
What?
Once upon
did you
a time.
finish
what? Ozark?
No, When I
Or
was
you?
gonna
Oh
ask
no,
you
you
about, I
you
thought
want
he
you
was
want to talk
talking
about
about
Once Upon a
Community, but
you
I
want
guess we're gonna
you
talk
want to talk
about.
about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, we've all watched that. Finally.
I finally watched it. I
All right,
finally
so now let's
finished
talk
it.
about it. Spoilers, if you haven't seen it, just don't watch. Just skip ahead. There'll be timestamps because we're gonna talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for a little bit. So, all right, go for it, Adam. What do you think?
Mm,
I feel like
it's
you're thinking too
different.
long.
It's
It's
different. I'm not
different.
sure. I'm not sure how I. It's not a bad movie by
Okay,
any means,
you're correct in that
but
regard.
the ending feels very out of place, and it feels like it's just um, Quentin Tarantino trying to put in his typical violence
Okay.
because it doesn't fit the rest of the film. But while we're watching it, Emily didn't think it was over because she was going, well, they haven't gone and
Oh, they haven't killed her yet.
they
Yeah.
haven't gone and murdered the other people yet. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't get it. I think this is a whole, if they had gone to a different house,
Yeah, it's an Inglorious Bastards. Yeah.
if they had accidentally gone to a different house instead of the one they did go to, what could have happened?
Yeah. Which is what I'll say. Like, that's why the ending, for me, it was very tense because I kind of knew, they go to the ranch in the movie, and I was like, okay, these are the Manson guys, I think. And then I was like, and I think this chick gets murdered. Like, I knew vague history of this, but I was like,
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Like, is that what he's doing? Is that what's happening? And then so when they show up, at Leo and Brad Pitt's house. I hate the fact. What are their names? Like Cliff and something else. I can't remember. Anyway, they show up. The Manson people do, and I was like, man, I got like nervous for Brad Pitt's character because I was like, are they about to like kill these people? Like, damn, this is about to be like dark, you know? And then clearly it goes the completely opposite way, and
No,
it's
when he had the
great.
can in his hand, I was
What?
pretty sure he was going to be fine because he was holding that can. And I was like,
See,
he's a stuntman. He's holding the can. This shit's about to get
yeah.
crazy.
I liked the characters so much that's why it made me nervous. Like yes, I'm like, wow, this is about to be crazy. Like what I'm watching, it's so tense, which is again to Tarantino's credit, man. He can make like a goofy scene where Brad Pitt's like sitting here cracking these hilarious jokes. I'm still like on the edge of my seat because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh fuck. And then like the chick stabbed him in the leg, and I get like I was legitimately like, oh please don't kill Brad Pitt. I thought he was gonna bleed out. I thought he did bleed out on the floor, honestly. I was like, oh, that sucks. He bled out. Like, fuck, I hate this movie. Like, I think it was fine.
I was worried about Leo's character's wife. Whenever they
Yeah,
pull her
yeah.
out of the bedroom, that's when I was like, technically this woman is a nobody for the movie, so she's an easy kill. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, this woman's in trouble.
But see, that's I guess we briefly touched on it when we discussed it, when me and Mike kind of like vaguely discussed it, which that whole scene, I mean, say what you will about the movie itself, but the ending, I mean, I cannot even think of another movie where I'm sitting here and I'm like tense. This is hilarious, but I'm also like very worried. I'm laughing out loud, but I'm still like, oh, like what's gonna happen?
Honestly, I think the movie itself was way too long.
Ah,
There is a lot of stuff that I don't believe needs to be in there. Like I understand needing to see the evolution of the different characters, but they go so many different directions. It felt very Pulp Fiction-y to me, and it's in the way that there's so many storylines going on at one time that you're clipping through and you're trying to keep track, and some of those storylines don't need to be as long as they are.
I enjoyed it. I didn't really think that there was too much extra unnecessary scenes. I thought there was, the ending, as Jason said, was very very like high string, like very very nerve wracking. But the payoffs that you got of like Brad Pitt defending himself and Leonardo DiCaprio with his ridiculous flamethrower. Those were so outrageous, but the payoffs.
I laughed out loud at a woman being burned to death by a flamethrower.
Which does, I mean,
The
it gives
the
you the
second
best
you watch
line.
that.
It gives me my favorite line of the whole movie, which is, I guess, when the Roman Polanski, I don't think it's Roman Polanski, but it's one of the neighbors. He's like, well, oh, that's crazy. Is everyone okay? He's like, oh, well, the goddamn hippies aren't, I'll tell you that much.
That was
I was
great.
just like, oh man, I was dying, man.
That was great.
Um,
But even
Just
even the scenes that were like considered like maybe not as important to the story, like character development scenes, I even thought were really rich. Like when like Leonardo DiCaprio's in his trailer after screwing up on set, and he's having this conversation with himself. It's such a joy,
yeah.
like to watch. Like even that, like, and it's just
Yeah.
one dude
We
talking to
yeah. You
himself.
gotta get your shit together. No, you gotta go home and you gotta drink 8 fucking whiskeys. So, like, go and put a fucking gun in my mouth. Like, so funny, man. I was cracking up.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with you, Mike. Yeah, I really don't feel like it was padded too much. I know it's long, but I didn't feel like it was long. There was never a point that I was watching it and being like, okay, this runtime's a little long. So I guess I would ask you, Adam, like as someone that did feel like it could be trimmed, what would you have taken out of the movie? Because I have heard people's opinions on this.
I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me, but whenever Brad Pitt goes to the ranch or the old to
Oh,
visit the
okay.
old he goes to visit the old guy and he has the interaction with all the hippie people,
The Manson family.
yeah, that turn out to be the Manson family. I assumed because of the way that it played out, and if you watch it, he drives the same vehicle that someone at the other house did. So I assumed that they were going to target the car, and that was the whole point of the whole scene.
Oh, okay.
But it just seemed as if they pulled up to the nearest house almost whenever they actually do come. So that is a very large chunk of time that didn't seem to have any real payoff to it, besides the fact that you got to make them feel a little bit more ominous. But
Yeah, yeah.
you could have sped it up to a great degree, I feel.
So, I've talked to some older people about this movie. I'm talking like 50, 60-year-olds at the
People
bar.
that
I'm like,
actually were alive
yes,
at the
that were
time.
alive and know it. And so what's funny is, the things that they take away from the movie is they won't talk about so much like, yes, they enjoy the ending because it's cathartic. It's a fairy tale. It's nice to think that it would have happened this way as opposed to how it did. But they think it's neat how like, oh, he goes to the ranch and they know like the names of these people because they were famous Manson family people. Wow, like they show so and so and then they show this lady and this guy and they recognize the name like when they hear it and they're like, so I guess to
Mhm.
them they're getting something else out of it because they get like, we don't really get on edge until they're in black robbing you, where like they're like, holy shit, like Brad Pitt is literally like talking to this murderer. Like what's gonna happen, because they're familiar with the subject. So, and Tarantino, if anything, that is kind of like a love letter to old Hollywood. So a lot of what he does is just throwing references. Like they were catching everything. These people would sit here and they talk an hour about this movie about things that I just knew nothing about. They'd be like, "Oh, it was so cool how he did this scene." It was just like when I watch TV and they mentioned this actor and this actress, and it was a callback to this film and this movie and this place. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Like
So
With
maybe it's a too young to appreciate thing.
that's literally I've had plenty of people be like, yeah, I don't know that young people would get a lot out of this movie. That like if you were like 20 or 25, like I just think that you would miss out on so much of what the movie had to offer. So
Mhm. Well, like any Tarantino film, it's layered, and
Hmm.
the like you had talked about when he was confronting those figures in black, which I think that was the highest stress moment of the entire that entire scene, was the fact that Brad Pitt could not figure out at the beginning if he was just tripping balls
Yeah.
or if these were real people. And he starts like giggling and laughing at these people. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this couldn't get any more stressful if they tried.
It's just the shit he says, like, whoa, you know.
Exactly, exactly.
It's like, wait a second, I know you, and you're like, don't say that, Brad Pitt. Why would you say that?
Oh,
Oh, but yeah, it's so, you know. Oh, and so not only are you feeling tense and hilarious, like you're laughing at like the goriest deaths that you could think of, like, you know, a woman's face being smashed on a brick mantle, and like you can't stop laughing. Like, so I gotta give him credit. However, he crafted that scene together. He knows what he's doing.
I like the
He
dog a
definitely
lot.
does.
I
Oh
like,
yeah, the dog was great. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
And I was afraid too. I was like, "Don't kill the dog! Don't kill the dog!" And then they didn't kill the dog, and I was
We
like,
know
"Oh,
how
thank
you
God."
feel about movies with dogs in it. I
Yeah,
think so.
they kind of, you know, they couldn't kill the dog. It would have
It's
crushed
always
Brad Pitt.
dangerous when there's a dog in the scene and there's violent people in the same scene. You're like, uh
Yeah.
You know,
oh,
I had a weird emotional response to Leo and Brad Pitt's relationship, especially towards like the end of the film once he comes back with like the wife and stuff, because Cliff is like having to move out. And they have that like nice talk when he's in the ambulance. And it's definitely like you know, it was like heart-wrenching as a man, because I'm like, oh, like, you know, they have like they're bros, but like they know it's ending. Like, you know, I was like, oh, this is sucks to watch, man. I don't like
I
it.
just wish it was tighter.
It could have, don't get me wrong, I guess you could have made it tighter. And so what I've heard is a lot of people, at least the people that have heard, you know, this complaint about length, you could have cut out Leo's whole acting thing when he's acting in that Western TV show. A lot of people say that doesn't add much to them. Um I enjoyed it,
Yeah,
but
his whole time in Italy, I think, was it Italy when he's
no,
shooting
I
this
think
random Western?
no, I think that's the very end. That whole scene is very quick. He just flies to Italy. They say like the 3 or 4 movies that he shot. He meets his wife and they fly back. No,
Okay.
I think that's still just in Hollywood when he's doing, and that's honestly probably like 40 minutes of the movie is just seeing him like work on that scene. And what Mike said, you know, the in
When he's the
between is
when
him in
he's
the
the
trailer.
supporting actor all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then you see him like come out and give like a really good performance, dude. And but you know, I just like film too much. Like I really appreciated like when they did that long like 10 to 15 minute shot of them going through the episode before he like slips up. Like you like forget that, you know, you just don't even know what's happening. You're just watching him like do a scene, and then he's like line line, and it becomes something like completely different, you know. Like I really enjoyed that. I thought it was so neat.
I mean, the Italy scene was important because it marked a change in Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio's characters. Because right after
Yeah,
he comes
definitely.
back, he's like, "All right, well, I need to start settling down. I have a wife now."
Yeah, and that was kind of like Leo's
Mhm.
midlife crisis. He finally like accepted that he was like over the hump. But hey, I'm still worth something. I'm gonna go make my money over here. But when I come back, I know I've already gone and done movies, and yeah, wherever they went, you know,
Like
the
my
Europe.
time's up,
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing.
Yeah,
So I
that
made
movie had so
retirement
many
money.
good reactions. Like when Leonardo DiCaprio's sitting there at the end and he's listening to his music in the pool, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden all this shit's going on, and that one girl just gets thrown through the glass window, and he just freaks out and goes, "What the heck is going on?" Like,
Or just seeing him come out in like his fucking robe with
yeah,
his picture of Margarita, like yelling at him. He's like, "Hey, what are you kids
what
doing?"
are you hippies
Like,
doing?
dude, it's just so funny. Like, dude, it's just situational humor, you know. And it definitely, like, I caught Inglorious Bastard vibes just once I realized like what was happening. Like once Brad Pitt started like killing everyone, I was like, oh, they're doing something different. Like I don't know what they're doing different, but this is different. Like, yeah, this didn't happen like this.
I don't know. I would
So
still. I would. I don't think I will rewatch it. It's not something like Inglorious Bastards or The Hateful Eight or something that if I saw it, I go, oh yeah, I can watch this.
I could
It wasn't one
rewatch
of
it,
those. It
definitely. I
wasn't one
don't
of
know that
those.
I would sit down and like put it on. But yeah, to your credit, Inglorious Bastards is I think it's a shorter movie. I think it's probably only like 2 hours. I'm gonna look that up real fast.
I don't know. Inglorious Bastards.
No, it's long. 2 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, it's only like 15 minutes shorter than Once Upon a Time. Shit. So to your credit,
Maybe I'm
maybe the
saying
movie
it
does
feels like
feel
it
long.
drags. It drags at certain points.
Yeah,
That's the
where
problem.
with Inglourious Bastards, I can definitely sit down. I thought that was a 2 hour movie. The fact that
I
I
mean,
looked it up and it's 2:30, I'm like, holy shit, it's that long? Because it
we've
never
all
feels that long.
we've all seen fucking Endgame and Infinity Wars, and those are all close to 3 hours or whatever. So
Endgame feels like 3 hours. It fucking
some
does.
some movies just drag, and I think that's just due to pacing and certain things that could have been done better.
Yeah, as I've already shit on Endgame last week or weeks prior, the movie is really tight and moves well up until the time heist. And the time heist is just like so slow to me. It's just such a slog now. I'm like, it's like New York date, and I'm like, oh, just fucking get to the end. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the time heist shit does get on my nerves. So what do y'all think about the Russo brothers getting the live action version of Hercules?
I I didn't
No
know that.
opinion. They announced it earlier this week. I think it's some heavy hitters for
Sure.
for fucking Hercules, which isn't.
I don't watch live action Disney movies. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now. I don't even watch
You
CG,
refuse?
Lion King. But no, it's not that I refuse. I have like nothing against these. There's like a negative interest in those type of films to me, and I enjoy the trailers. Like I watched the Lion King trailer and I was like, wow, with the soundtrack going and these visuals, like this is so epic. But I'm not gonna see this movie. Like,
Did you watch
so
Aladdin?
no. Why the
Oh
fuck
wow.
would I? Like,
Dude,
I'm gonna
dude,
I'm gonna sound like an
dude.
elitist right now and say like I've already seen the superior product. I've seen the product that is literally causing you to remake this shit in live action. Like it's such a good property already that now you're gonna take a chance to make it live action. I'm sure you made it good and faithful and it's great. But I mean, can you guys, and please argue with me if you want to. I feel like, and as someone that hasn't seen the live actions, you can't. There are just some things that you cannot portray when you move it out of like a cartoon median, much like with anime. You can hit things in anime that you cannot hit in live action, and just like with Western animation, I mean, you can make it magical in CG, but it's gonna hit different than it would when you have these big dance numbers in Aladdin and Lion King. Like, I don't care if you do it live action or CG, it's just not going to feel the same. It's not gonna hit the same.
I'll let Adam go because I can tell he's about to jump out of his
Please,
seat over there.
let's do it.
No, the music in Aladdin still fucking hits.
Okay. Because it's the same songs.
Yeah. The recasting, Will Smith has even said that there's no way that he could have possibly copied Robin Williams, so he
I don't
had to
have a
do his
problem. I thought Will
he
Smith
had
was
to do
was
his
like
own
the best part
thing.
of the whole movie. I have
He
no
had to do
problem
his
with
own
Will
thing,
Smith.
and he crushed it. He
Okay.
crushed it.
I was worried.
I thought I was going in extremely worried about Will Smith's genie based on the trailers that they released.
Mhm.
It looked
And
fine.
he's still funny, like almost the center of the movie. Naomi Scott was a gorgeous Jasmine. She fit the role perfectly. The guy they cast for Aladdin, Mina Masood or something. I don't want to probably butchering that name, but I don't know. The casting was good with the exception of Jafar, and The music was good. It was Aladdin is my second favorite Disney movie behind The Lion King, and I thought it was incredible.
See,
Loved it.
I think the reason why Aladdin was much more, because I even enjoyed Aladdin, and I think the reason why it was so much more enjoyable than The Lion King was because Lion King, like Jason was talking about, tried to duplicate it shot for shot. Um,
With doing realism also,
right.
like the CG isn't exaggerated. It's very grounded, which I respected. Like it looked fantastic. But yeah, when you watch, I've seen some of the musical numbers on YouTube and stuff, and it just, it almost looks boring because it isn't exaggerated. I'm like, oh, it's just a realistic tiger, like lion, whatever the fuck he is, trying to dance, but it, in real life it's not, it's not much you can do.
But Aladdin does not do that. They set up kind of they use the animated version as like a base, but they definitely do their own version of things. But
Okay.
they still pay homage to the original. So
Yeah,
it's
you still have the heavy hitters
yeah.
segments
Hmm.
that you need,
So it's a nice
and then they
compromise.
fill it in.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
The biggest issue with the Lion King um, was they oh god, what they just butchered Rafiki.
Who is that?
Rafiki was the monkey.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
He's supposed to be like this wise, crazy old man
yeah. He's
who
the
hits you
wise
with a stick.
he's almost like Yoda in a sense.
Hmm.
Like he comes
Yeah,
across as crazy, but then he like sombers up,
in the
and he's, oh shit, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Like,
in the live action film, it's literally just a monkey that's sort of like a priest because he's there at the beginning, and then he also does the whole tree thing with Simba. But besides that, there is none of that fun energy that he had in the animated film, and that um, is where they really messed up. And it was freaking John Favreau. John Favreau almost never does wrong, but I feel like he screwed up with that film.
But even I would say even Will Smith's genie is fun. Which I was
Mm,
really worried about when like or when leaks got out of his character. He looked like a blue
yeah,
Majin Buu, and
yeah,
I was real worried about that. But yeah, that
looked
was definitely
rough.
not the finished product for sure. But he's fun. Like even even like a lot of the boring moments. Like it's like they took all the stuff that was good in the animated version and just redid it in a fun new way. Because a lot of the stuff were like the tiger. I remember in the animated version of uh,
Raja.
yeah, Raja. Like he was very, very like like they did a lot more. There were a lot more scenes where he's like very animated and he's like very emotional in his own way. Like and that really slowed down. I don't know. Just as a kid, I never really liked Aladdin that much, but obviously, um, with the new one, I feel like it's much more enjoyable.
Well, speaking of John Favreau, uh, the Mandalorian season 2, they've announced that Boba Fett will appear, and that it's going to be played by the actor who played Jango Fett.
Oh,
oh,
okay.
that's actually kind of neat. I was like, wow, Boba Fett is appearing in a Mandalorian show.
So
Hot
that
fucking news. When
no,
you told me
no,
it's
I'm
by the
saying
actor who did Django, I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool.
so if the Jango Fett actor is playing Boba Fett, and if at any point in time that helmet comes off, does that mean that Boba Fett
Is
was
the
one of the
Django
original
clone? Yeah.
clones,
Yeah, of
or
course.
are they
I
just
would
doing
think
it for the
so.
voice?
They could do it for the canon. Yeah. I
Because
mean,
that
is that
casting
real?
in general,
I don't really think that changes anything, Yeah, if his helmet comes off and you see like Django Fett and aged Django Fett underneath, I mean, there was a whole, how many Django Fetts did they make? They made like fucking millions, billions of these dudes. So Yeah, to think that one of them didn't become a bounty hunter when it's based off of like a bounty hunter, you know.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like, I feel like that show can literally do no wrong at this point. Because it does feel like a Western in space. I did recently see that Baby Yoda has overtaken Darth Vader as the most popular.
Merch or something?
No, just as the most popular character in Star Wars now.
No.
It's
Yeah,
official.
okay. All right. Who the fuck are they interviewing?
I,
Housewives?
I,
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, to Mike's credit, though, yeah, I mean, he was insanely popular. I've read plenty of articles about how Disney really, whatever corporate whoring, they didn't have merchandise ready for like the uh, swarm of Baby Yoda fandom. So yeah, I've read
Oh yeah,
reports that they missed out on like billions of dollars of like commercial revenue just from moving merchandise
I still think
because
that
they
might
had
have been
none. They had
intentional.
no merchandise ready for that shit.
which blows my mind because
Yeah, I understand.
even the set photos of George Lucas, whenever John Favreau is showing him Baby Yoda, uh, it looks like even George Lucas got it. So how do the executives at Disney not understand this is your moneymaker right
Yeah,
now? This
or
is
even
your
then, let's
fucking
say
little thing that was in the
yeah.
Last Jedi. Those annoying little creatures.
Yeah, you had how much Porg merchandise did they
Yeah.
fucking have? They had Porgs on fucking everything months before that movie even came out. There were people with fucking plushies and Fogo Pops and fucking popsicles. I don't even know what the fuck they make with this shit. Candy,
Popsicles.
yeah, fucking yeah, those popsicle action figures. Fucking I hate them. But
Oh, the
anyway,
pop dolls.
yeah, yeah, Fogo. I don't know what the fuck they're called, but anyway, they slapped this dude on everything, and see, the Porgs are gonna play an integral role in the Last Jedi or some shit. Like, no, they aren't, dude. You just want to sell cute toys, so you have like this cute Baby Yoda that, it was just so amazing to me that they didn't. That you just had no merchandise ready, like.
Yeah, it's the same company that brought you Ewoks and Porgs that were
That's not the
obvious cash grabs.
same company, that brought you Ewoks.
I
It
don't
is the same company that brought you Porgs.
I don't believe that this was intentional. I really like. There's no way that Disney was like, "This is not going to be a hit. Like, this is not going to be like."
Yeah. Look, as someone that doesn't give a shit about like live action stuff, really, dude. I mean, it was they released a solid trailer to like it's a bounty hunter. It's a serious bounty hunter show in the Star Wars universe. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna tune into that. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. But I just like it got like I feel like it was completely intentional just because like we had people literally making their own Baby Yodas. Like it was that palpable.
Mhm.
you had a lot of people profit off of merch that was just like secondhand,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like that their whole plan was, all right, we're gonna starve him of Baby Yoda because he's so darn cute, and then season
Mm.
2 is when we're really just gonna unleash
Oh,
it.
that's a mistake in 2020, I have to say. Like the society's mind moves so quickly that I think that's a heavy gamble to be like, "Oh, I know, we're going to build up this property and not give them anything for months." Like cuz the fandom wanes, they move on to something else. The lemmings just follow the next popular thing. Oh, Black Widow, it's time to pay attention to Black Widow now.
So you think they were just basically incompetent?
I think they missed the ball at 100%. Because hey, even if you starve them, it doesn't mean. I mean, it doesn't mean that you missed out on $4 billion worth of like toy sales. Like that still is on the table. And because you missed out on like $4 billion worth of revenue, you're telling me that that's worth whatever you're gonna make in the future from the holdouts. I can't see. Look at the Switch. You would rather have a fucking shortage where people are, I had people up at work yesterday when I mentioned it. These people don't even play games. They're like, yeah, isn't that thing like sold out? Like, and I was like, it absolutely is. Like they know about the hype, where people knew about the Yoda hype, but it's not like you're making any money that there's hype, that there's no merchandise. Like Nintendo is still making money. Sure, their systems are short, but their games are selling. So
I mean, but like a character such as Yoda, though, obviously this is not Yoda; it's a baby Yoda.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's a character
different
that has
character.
lasting power. Um, so I feel like on that angle, maybe because I just don't see like how they didn't realize Baby Yoda was going to be a hit, and hey, we should capitalize on this. Like with all those Disney money-hungry Disney execs, that they really all were like,
Maybe
next
it was
time,
just the
next
show.
time.
Maybe it was the show in general. Because I mean, did they have like Mandalorian gear ready that wasn't Baby Yoda focused? Like, did they have any Mandalorian action figures or T-shirts or whatever? And to my knowledge, they just didn't have any merch available.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, I'll give
Did they
Disney
not think
mad.
it was going to be
Yeah,
popular?
I'll give Disney mad props for not whoring every property they have out immediately. But shame on you, Disney, for not whoring your products and making your money,
The,
being the Goliath you are.
the world
Like,
needs Baby Yoda. That's the thing.
no, whatever, whatever. It's a good
Just to stay on,
show, you know.
it's a fucking great show. Just stay around Disney.
Ugh.
What do y'all think about this? I think it's still rumored, but the
Are there theme parks open
Dragon
yet? No.
Ball Cinematic Universe,
Don't care. Don't
brought to you
care.
by Disney.
I already said it. I said it a few minutes ago. There's just anime loses a lot in translation to live action. Here's a fun game we'll play. Guys, fans of anime, name one good live action adaptation of an anime. Go.
I can one up you, Jason. It's gonna be my one thing is going to be something you'll end up watching. I guarantee it. Cowboy Bebop. You're definitely gonna watch the Cowboy Bebop live action.
Doesn't mean it's gonna
Don't
be
even
good.
try and pull it off.
Doesn't
You're
mean
not
it.
going
No,
to.
no. Look, I still
He didn't
haven't.
say would you watch
Yeah.
it. He said, "Is it good?"
Look, I haven't watched the Ghost in the Shell live action. Okay, but it doesn't mean that if it was on, I wouldn't give it a shot.
Yeah, plenty.
That being said, I mean, I'll say this with confidence at the moment. That might be a good movie that I might enjoy. It does not mean that I will enjoy it as much as the original Ghost in the Shell film. There's just no way, because that movie offers something that I think you cannot capture in live action. So
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, John Cho got injured.
yeah, quite a while ago, I want to say.
But I mean, getting back to Dragon Ball, I feel like they kind of that has already been tried and has failed.
Yeah, how many duds have you had?
Yeah, but that was hot garbage.
I mean, they only spent like $35 million
yeah, exactly.
on producing Dragon Ball Evolution. But
And don't get me wrong.
Only time I saw
No, you go.
the only
I'm
time
just
I
gonna
ever
shit on it.
the only time I ever saw Dragon Ball Evolution was at a con at one of the late night panels, in which it was just a room full of people and there were commentators.
It was like Rocky Horror. You were
Yeah,
there.
cracking
Whoa, Rocky
jokes.
Horror, you're not there to lampoon it. You're there to like play along to the campiness. This was definitely for shitting on. It was for people to shit on it.
Yeah, it was just it was a group of people that are, I guess, may or may not be Dragon Ball fans, just cracking jokes and making fun of how fucking terrible that movie was.
It was a good experience. I enjoyed it.
So this has to be better than that.
I mean,
yeah, you're right. A dog turd is better than a human shit. I'll give you that. I'd rather pick up a dog turd than a full-grown man shit. You're right.
It's rumored that the gentleman that did the voice for Smeagol, he's going to be playing Frieza in this live action adaptation. So
fuck, he was in Black Panther. What is that guy's name? I feel dumb for not knowing it.
I mean,
He's a great actor. I mean,
yeah,
He's a really good actor. He
It's
was good in
good
Black
casting.
Panther.
Michael Sh-
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, yeah.
Speaking of which, just random side note, Andy Serkis actually did a live reading of The Hobbit, either yesterday or the day before. It's like a
Saw that.
10-hour stream. Yeah, I tuned in for a second, and I was like, "What part is he at?" But yeah, he just sat down and read the whole Hobbit. So
I thought he was doing it in segments. I did not realize
did
he
he?
had.
Well, okay, so maybe it was segmented. I didn't know that he was what it was gonna be. I just knew that he was reading The Hobbit. I thought that was neat.
All the celebrities doing their sort of own.
No, it's for a 12-hour marathon.
It was a 12-hour marathon. Wow.
Yep. Reads the entire Hobbit. I mean, I think hey, for a voice actor, for an actor himself, there's not many people that I would tune in to see read a book. Andy Serkis, I'd tune in to watch him read some shit.
Did you see Daniel Radcliffe? Radcliffe, he read Harry Potter. I think he read 2 books.
Probably the first 2, because I don't see him reading the fucking Order of the Phoenix or some shit.
I'm gonna sit down and read the entire collection in one sitting.
I have
So
my
by the time you get-
cocaine ready.
Yeah.
I mean, to read the entire Hobbit though, that is impressive. I mean, I might go back and listen to that then, just for the sake of it. I wonder if
It's like an audiobook. Yeah,
that's something good to have on, like if you're working in the background.
Mhm.
It's a better version of an audiobook because you have someone that was a part of the film or that's a talented voice actor who's I would imagine he was doing different voices for different characters. So
Is there anything you would like to see? Any of you guys would like to see in particular of some actor reading, like a story?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah. Get the cast of Lord of the Rings to read the Lord of the
Everybody.
fucking Rings. Get not even everyone. You could take turns. If you had Viggo Mortensen read Lord of the Rings, it's an instant listen to me. You know, like anything with Lord of the Rings, especially with that cast. Yeah, I'll tune in.
I wasn't expecting
But
that.
short of that, like I wouldn't care, and I know there'll be an audience for this. I say this, like Harry Potter, them doing Harry Potter readings, I wouldn't personally care about, even as someone that read the books. But there's an audience for that, I guarantee it.
I mean, yeah, I love the books. I love the movies.
Yeah.
I would be down.
If you had any of those actors or actresses kind of do a marathon for charity of reading those books, that would probably be a bigger deal than Andy Serkis reading The Hobbit. Realistically, they just have a much larger fan base. I feel like much more rabid fans too. Those wizards.
Even when Harry Potter was really big and the movies were coming out, like I was such a casual, barely like just following it, just to see what all the hype was about. And coincidentally, I saw a meme earlier today of the ending of Harry Potter where you see Voldemort. He looks like a starving child from a third world country laying on the floor.
Yeah, I never saw the last movie, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you never saw the last one?
No, I didn't care. I watched part 1 in theaters.
Technically spoilers, but I mean, how old is this movie at this point?
Right.
There are no spoilers at this point.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember why he was laying there like on the ground, like in a white room, and Gandalf is like coming up to Harry Potter. He's like, "Yeah, he's dead." Like,
Harry was essentially, it was sort of purgatory. He was like at that precipice
Yeah,
of life and
Dumbledore
death.
purgatory. Yeah,
So he's
I
speaking with
remember.
Dumbledore, and they're showing him like this. What you see, that's what's left of Voldemort. That's how little has become of himself.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a children's book. On that note, I've been listening to the audiobook. I'll name drop. Completely been listening to The Name of the Wind. I read like half of it probably a year ago. And then I went on vacation and I stopped reading it, but I picked back up and I'm about caught up where I left off. It's great. It's a great book. 2 of the 3 are released. Everyone who's ever read it will tell you it's fantastic. So
What's it about?
that's a hard question to answer.
You
It's an
can't even give
adventure.
us. You can't even give us summary.
It's an adventure. It's an adventure book. It has like magic, but they call it sympathy.
Jason, you
he had
can't tease us like this and not take us
It's
all
too
the
much.
way.
It's too much without like, it's one of these stories that starts, I'll say this, it starts in kind of like the future, and then someone finds him and he's telling the tale to this guy because he's like, hey, you're that fucking guy I keep hearing about. I found you.
Mm.
Fucking tell me what's up. And then he started, he was a traveling bard, and tragedy, happens, and he's a young kid surviving on the streets, and then he's talented. I almost want to call him Mary Sue a little bit. If I have a gripe about this Name of the Wind series, it's so far this guy kind of seems like a Gary Stu, I guess. Like, yes, he has pitfalls and like troubles, but it always seems like things work out for him. Which, hey, he's a main character. I guess things have to work that way. But I'm not going to harp on that too much. It's a really good read. It's going to be a trilogy. 2 of the books have been released. It might suffer from this Game of Thrones problem of it's been like 6 years since that last book was released, and people are like, "Hey, where's your final book?" So, but check it out. It's great. Fucking fantastic.
I'm reading 2 books right now, which is always an issue because when you start reading 2 books, you
Yeah.
start like mixing things up,
Yep.
and it's hard to
And you
follow
you get more
Why would you?
interested in one than the other, and
because
you're
they're
like,
both
"Oh,
so
I'll read that one
interesting.
later."
Yeah, they're both so interesting. I want to read both. But the 2 I'm reading right now is the Foxcatcher book.
Like based on the real event?
Right, like
Yeah.
yeah, which is really really fascinating.
Have you seen the movie
Oh yeah, I've seen
with Steve Carell?
I've seen the ESPN documentary that they
Yeah,
did
the
and the Netflix
documentary's
one.
good.
But
But
it's crazy how this all happened like basically around the year we were born. It was like 88.
yeah, exactly. It feels like old, and then like you look at the dates, and I'm like, oh, like this happened when like DuPont refineries were like fucking killing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And then they literally killed it.
yeah. Oh man, that's some dark humor. But
Yeah.
the other book is Ready Player One. I've been trying to read that. I just kind of ruined it though,
Trying.
because I ruined it for myself by watching the movie first.
Ah, okay.
I watched the movie first too, and then I read the book. And spoiler alert: the fucking movie is garbage. That book is fucking amazing.
From what I understand, the
I
movie,
burned my way through that book like
but a lot of
this.
people like the movie. But as
No, it's
again,
still
we've
entertaining.
talked, I think we've literally said this, which is like, I mean, the movie will be the movie, the book will always be a superior product,
And the last thing that I finished was The Martian, which, to
Oh,
Jason's
okay.
credit, The Martian was so much better. They literally skipped half of the book in the movie.
And so I'm gonna throw you a question though. So,
Mhm.
and this is all speculation.
Mhm.
So, was the book that much better because you're kind of like a survivalist guy that you really like these survivor shows? Not Survivor itself, that's whatever.
Mhm.
But like Survivor Man and Naked and Afraid and all this shit. So like in the book, I guess it goes into a lot more detail about him surviving, and you were probably like, "Oh, this is great." Like,
Let me put it this way. There's way more detail. It's basically almost like the book is set up in journal entry, basically.
okay.
Like day 1, day 2, day 3. And yes, that was originally like the main thing that did pull me to the story. It is a survivor type aspect because I like Castaway a lot.
Yeah. It's Castaway on Mars.
On Mars, exactly, with
Yeah.
potatoes grown in shit.
Yeah.
But the like, did you guys both watch the movie, The Martian?
I have not seen the movie.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, I know. I have it downloaded.
That movie's
Spoilers.
amazing.
I get
Yeah, I
it.
know. I hear it's good.
If you,
So you shit on Rick and Morty for fandom, Mike, and I know when it came out, I kept seeing people make fun of like the I'm gonna science the fuck out of this or something, and people are like, "Oh, it's cringe," and I was like,
Oh, I love that.
How was that cringe?
love
I thought
that.
it was
I'm sure-
funny.
Again, in context, I'm sure it's funny. Just like as many things in context in Rick and Morty are very funny in context, but when taken out of context, you're like, you know,
I mean, I still have to catch up on Rick and Morty. I will say that.
you have to catch up. You just have to watch it in
I'm only
general and
season-
not hate it.
I'm only one season in, so like I'm not gonna fully judge it, but
Oh, I have a question for later. Actually,
I
I'm not gonna ask it on the podcast.
honestly,
I just had a thought. I was like, oh, okay.
But The Martian, there's a scene basically towards the end of the movie where he leaves the place that he's been surviving. Spoilers. And he goes to this launch pad, basically.
Yeah, because he's trying to get back to Earth. You know.
Well,
that's
he's
the
trying to
whole-
he's trying to like hook up with like these people that are coming back to like his old crew is like
Yeah.
coming back. That is like literally half of the book. Like,
Oh, okay.
he makes this like journey that's like that was one of the best parts of the book was how like he had his own Leonardo DiCaprio moments on his
Okay.
way to like to this launching pad, which took weeks, and in the movie it literally was like 30 seconds.
Wow, really?
it wasn't 30 seconds.
It was fast. It was
Yeah,
it was
but
more.
I
It was
guess-
probably like 5 minutes. It
As
wasn't
Mike's
that. It
saying,
wasn't
though,
that long though.
in the fucking book, it feels like you're reading Lord of the Rings. Like
Exactly.
they're this is an adventure.
Yep.
He's traveling, and in the movie, it's like a short, like look, yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but hey, he made it, guys.
Yeah,
It was
I
like
could-
Frodo and Sam walking up the mountain in Lord of the Rings. Like, oh, this is very quick, you know? Okay.
I could see that. Only because you brought it up, I'm just gonna quickly talk about Rick and Morty coming back last week. It's the second half of season 4. Even though it feels like it should be a new fucking season, they took so long to put these episodes out.
So you said it was overly meta. I saw that you mentioned that, but in my head, I'm like, you're talking about mid-season, season 4 Rick and Morty, episode 6, season 4 of Rick and Morty of all things. Like, I haven't watched it, but clearly that whole show after season 2 is just like very meta. Like most all jokes are with recurring characters and recurring jokes, you know.
They're on a train with a character named Storylord, and the whole episode is basically
See, it's already
what
too
I'm
meta.
assuming.
This
What I'm
already
ass-
sounds silly to me.
what I'm assuming is they start cutting to different things that I'm assuming were thought up in the writer's room that they never used,
Okay.
and it's sort of like this could have happened and this could have happened and this could have happened, and I'm like, I mean, I understand this is Rick and Morty and there's not always going to be some plot progression.
Don't
Whatever.
people love Interstellar Cable or whatever the fuck it's called?
Yeah, it's a great episode. Not every episode
not.
needs to progress the story.
I remember both times I have seen Interstellar. Well, no, they did Interstellar Cable twice, and then they did like a memory loss episode. Right? Is that how it went?
I'm blank on the memory loss episode. I can't recall that one.
Yeah, they even say it because again, the show's so meta. They literally say in like the opening before it starts, they like, we're doing this instead of Interstellar Cable, guys, and then it like cuts to the opening. It's when Morty forgets, like Rick always erases his memory because of all the horrible things that Morty sees. Like he like goes insane, so he has to like erase his memories, and they're like, we're doing this instead of Interstellar Cable. I don't know. I always hated those episodes. I say hate. That's a strong word. They were just like my least favorite. And everyone always loved them. Oh, but I'm just like, dude, it's nothing. I'm watching 30 minutes of nothing. And in a series that kind of, the plot kind of matters, you know?
Now that
Go ahead, Adam.
Now that I've finished Community, and like Jason said last week, from what he had heard, the later seasons got rough, and the later seasons of Community do get rough. I'm kind of worried.
You're worried. Dan's gonna get up his own
I'm
ass.
worried. Yeah, I'm worried that Rick and Morty like started strong, just like Community started strong, and it's gonna do this cyclical start feeding into itself where you go,
It already has. You know?
oh, this is too much. This is too much. Because there was a plot in the first couple of seasons of Rick and Morty. There was a story, there were characters.
It's a loose plot. It's loose enough that it's still like episodic. You can pop in anywhere and still enjoy it, but there is this slow overarching plot that gets developed, which again is why so many people, I guess, enjoyed the season 2 finale so much, why it did pop off so much in season 3, because this plot kind of get more serious. And so it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
oh wow, this show's taking itself seriously now. But now it's almost too meta to where you can't you run into the Venture Brothers problem, where if I'm popping into a Venture Brothers episode in seasons 1 through 3, I can watch it and it's funny, and maybe I missed some things, but it's still good. If I'm watching it in season 6, I'm like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. Like, everyone's working for someone, and there are jokes that are just flying over my fucking head.
Because you have Council of Ricks, you have Evil Morty, you have all these, you have Birdman, you have all of these little story points that are
Robot
out there.
Birdman now, you know, I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
That they introduced and has never been seen again. And they're still doing all these super meta episodes of, hey, here's a whole episode of stuff that we thought about that, but we never did.
Yeah, we left it on the writing room floor. I think my audience
I'm like,
will
that
enjoy
feels
this.
like filler.
Yeah, exactly. How self-indulgent that you think that you can get away with that. I know. I'll make a whole episode of my rejected ideas. Like, okay.
Mm.
And I'm sure they're good. He's a quality writer, but like, you know, I don't know. I definitely know for me, it was like season 1 was good. Season 2 was great. Season 3 fell back down to good. It definitely was like a step down. And I haven't watched any of season 4, so maybe it'll be good. You know, I'm not going to judge it. I don't know anything about it. I really won't judge that property until I watch it. And I will watch it eventually. Just I'll probably wait for the season to end.
As someone who's only seen season 1, I mean, isn't that the core of Rick and Morty though? Is
Yeah,
the meta jokes?
definitely.
Like,
Absolutely. If you
Supposed
watch season
to.
1, you kind of get the gist of what the show. I would say that is the show, and season 2 probably improves on that formula more, and then season 3 again, I will say, does like the Archer Venture Brothers problem of people like your jokes so much you just keep referencing them.
Yeah, Archer did that a lot.
Yeah. So if you're a big fan, I'll even say this, if you're a fanboy of these shows, it's giving you exactly what you want. But building a new audience, I think, is tough at that point. But to these shows' credits, I mean, if you're not watching a show by season 3 or 4, I don't really think, you know, the creators expect you to start latching on at season 4 and season 5.
Mm-mm.
I think they have their audience.
well, I plan on trying to catch up.
So, you know what? I will ask you on the podcast. Mike, you're talking to someone. I don't know what gender they are. I don't know if, you know, it's 2020. It could be anything, you know. No judgments here. Does this person like Rick and Morty? That would be my next question.
Have
you had this conversation?
Me personally?
No, I'm talking about the person that you're talking to.
I mean, she's probably listening.
I didn't say that. You're outing her. You're dossing her right now.
Clearly. No, I mean she does like Rick and Morty.
Okay. That's all I want to ask.
And I did see season 1, and I just wasn't that crazy about it, but I've been meaning to get back to it. It's just there's been so much other stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, things that you care about more. There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's also like there's so much TV out there.
Yeah, like it's overwhelming.
It doesn't surprise me though that Justin Roiland went out and then
did his own shit on Hulu.
Yeah, there's a show on Hulu now called Solar Opposites. I've only seen the first episode. It feels very Rick and Morty-ish.
I mean, it's the same art style. You would literally not know that you're watching a different show.
I've seen reviews call it a gross version of Rick and Morty's, but I've only seen one episode. But considering apparently Dan Harmon is a perfectionist and possibly a bit of control freak,
Yeah,
it
notorious. I mean, it's what
doesn't
happened with
surprise me.
Community,
And that's why it
and
takes so long for him to make
yeah.
shows.
You could argue that that's what's happening with Rick and Morty. You know, I don't know. Who knows? But I just know when your other creators go off and do shows on their own,
It's not a
I
good
don't know.
sign.
Yeah, it's probably not a good sign. You didn't see the Game of Thrones guys going, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this shit." Like,
I mean, but they do have a contract for 10 seasons. So,
of Rick and Morty.
yeah, the
Holy
reason why
shit!
season 4 took so long to come out was because they kept fighting with the network, and they were given a 10-season contract.
Oh my god.
See, and the other thing is, I don't feel like Rick and Morty is as bingeable as say you never saw Game of Thrones, and all of a sudden you have access to all the seasons, all the episodes. That's very bingeable compared to I feel Rick and Morty. I feel like
But you should, I would almost disagree with you. I feel like, you know, it's the same reason I haven't like binge watched I don't know, like Supernatural. You're talking about I have to sit down and binge watch an hour-long episode of a 9-season show as opposed to Rick and Morty. You can binge watch a season in like 3 hours or less, you know,
are
like
the seasons connected in Rick and
yeah,
Morty?
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
continuing
yeah.
story, but you're talking about 10
So
episodes a season at 20 minutes an episode, like,
Oh, okay.
so literally, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. You can sit down for 3 hours and finish a season.
Uh-huh.
So, I would argue that it's way more bingeable than something like Game of Thrones because you're gonna be on episode 4 by the time you're done with the season. You know, I'm not saying that's healthy. Maybe to your argument, maybe Game of Thrones hooks you more than Rick and Morty does.
Well, see,
So
I mean, seeing only season one, I thought that it was like each episode was isolated, like The Simpsons is.
it starts off that way very much in seasons 1 and 2. By season 3, I really do feel like
they
a
try to
lot of
start
that.
building a
Yeah, they
story.
have original ideas. Like an episode will start off original, but halfway through it, the plot is more so focused on a character and his plot. Like, hey, this was a neat original idea, but then you pivot into, well, see, this is an episode about Beth now, and we're talking about kind of Beth's character over the last season or two. Oh, this is an episode about Jerry, and it's going to be mostly about how his character has developed these last 2 seasons.
Yeah, and
Uh,
their marriage is very, very important to the whole story. The whole family dynamic is very important to the whole story.
I guess I can't watch a therapist berate Rick about, you know, I just can't take it
He's being
seriously.
he's a pickle at the time.
Yeah, I just can't take it serious. I feel like the show is like that's farting and like smelling your own fart to me. Like, oh wow, you had a woman talk down to him and make him feel belittled like a therapist. Like, wow, okay. Like, I really needed that in my comedy show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong, I love it when Rick gets like his comeuppings. Like when he gets like shit on, I enjoy that because he is such an asshole character. But I just felt like that was just so like writer's mouthpiece. It was a Brian moment. I'm like, oh, you have Brian on the screen telling me exactly how I'm supposed to feel, the right way to feel. Okay,
No, that's
gotcha.
what Dan Harmon prefers to do with his shows,
Really?
in my opinion, especially in Community.
Well, good for them for roping him in for quite a few seasons.
Because I feel as if Dan Harmon likes to use his shows as his own mouthpiece. Like, what is it? I just restarted Community this morning and noticed
You
a quote.
restarted it.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm trying to watch something other than The Office constantly.
Okay.
And one of Joel McHale's character's first statement is, the funny thing about being smart is you can get through most of life without ever having to do any work. I'm not really sure how to do that. I feel like that's a line that Dan Harmon would write.
Of course he would. Of course he would.
because he's so like self-deprecating and depressive and thinks shitty of himself while also thinking that he's brilliant. The more I watched Community, I was like, this is totally he's writing himself into a role.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's how I
But
feel
that's just
about
my
Kevin.
opinion.
That's how I feel about a lot of Kevin Smith movies now. Which Jay and Silent Bob Reboot got. It's crazy how split the fandom is with Jay and Silent
Yeah,
Bob Reboot.
I've read shit about
Really?
that,
It's
dude,
split?
Oh
and
yeah.
people. I think I saw. Hey, what I referenced earlier. I think fanboys enjoy it, and I think people that maybe were just casual fans, I think they don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's looked like it was going to be recycled.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, let's look at the premise. I'm already gonna say it just visually it doesn't mesh well because yes, it is a series about like being stoner kids and working dead end jobs and going to the mall. It definitely encapsulates a time in your life, and I feel like he already did his like mature storyline with like Clerks 2 of like, hey, we're getting older. I'm still working this shit job. Like that was his like midlife crisis movie of his characters. And then like
Yeah,
you're doing
exactly.
it. It looks to me like you're trying to do that. You're either trying to do that again with the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, or you're trying to make like just remake it. But the problem is like your actors are just old. It doesn't hit. I keep saying hit, but it doesn't feel the same way.
No, I mean it's a completely acceptable term.
Yeah, when you have these young guys going around Hollywood doing all this goofy shit, it's funny. When you have 45-year-old men doing it, it's maybe not as funny, you know?
I
Your
mean,
man child.
I feel like you
Yeah.
guys are missing the concept of it though, because all right, so I'll give you this. Clerks 2 was or Clerks 1 was about being in your 20s. Clerks 2 was about your life going into your 30s.
Yes.
Um, Clerks 3 is supposed to be like in your 40s going into your 50s, which
Is Clerks 3 a movie?
that was
That's not a
supposed
thing.
to. The guy that plays Randall basically didn't want to sign on
Okay.
to Clerks 3, which is ironic because it was basically going to be the Randall story.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
but to Kevin Smith's credit, had he died from his Widowmaker heart attack, we would have gotten none of this. None of this
Yeah.
would have ever been created. But the key to Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is the fact that he's mocking like all like you remember Spider-Man, how many Spider-Man reboots there were like before they got to Tom Holland. It really seemed like
There
we're
were
sorry.
2.
We're sorry. This movie's garbage. Here's a better version.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is. It's a reboot. It's basically everything that you got before with Jay and Silent Bob, but it's updated. It's new. And a lot of people just weren't happy with like the jokes and stuff like that. And I could literally hear Kevin Smith's characters saying these jokes, but like it coming out of his mouth. And that's not a negative.
Okay.
They weren't happy with the jokes.
Yeah, people are saying that the jokes were like some of the jokes were lame and stuff like that, but it's it's a Kevin Smith movie. It's ridiculous. It's Jay and Silent Bob are ridiculous characters, but yeah, they aren't acting like they're in their 20s or 30s anymore. Like they are adults, and even spoiler alert, Jay's character has a child. Like that's a teenager, which is actually Kevin Smith's daughter, plays Jay's in movie daughter. So
Okay.
it's way more about them becoming adults, yet still holding on to their core of like nerd jokes and geek culture and shitting on things. But the cameos were amazing. It was like
Yes,
Anchorman.
as usually, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like I think Anchorman 3 is the one with all the cameos.
Yeah.
It really felt
No,
like that.
Anchorman 2,
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know.
there's not a 3.
All the Anchorman movies. Well, that's gonna go into the title
2 has
description.
like the news. It's when all the news teams show up,
Mhm.
but it's like yeah, like Kanye West and everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and that's what there's a certain charm with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot that I feel like a lot of people miss because they're probably more casual fans, like you were saying, Jason.
Yeah, if you're not a hardcore Kevin Smith fan, and I mean, not to be cynical about it, but the fact that he had a heart attack and almost died definitely helped out probably getting a fuck ton of those cameos.
Possibly, but he footed the bill for the movie himself.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't picked up. They literally took the movie on tour to go get their money back. Like I was actually going
I
to go
wanted to
see
go.
it. Yeah, I was gonna go to Pittsburgh was the closest place, but I refused to ever go to
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
I think it came by Houston, and I saw a date, and I was like, I really want to go, but I don't know of anyone around that's willing to go see it because there was the movie and then a live Q&A
Mhm,
after
Oh, okay.
with them. So
yeah,
it was the whole experience.
exactly. And as someone that's always wanted to meet Kevin Smith, I was really considering it, but like the other thing is Pittsburgh is really far away from me. It's like a 3-4+ hour drive minimum. So I wasn't
Oof,
gonna
that
do it.
is a rough drive for a fucking movie.
Yeah. But yeah, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, 2 thumbs up in my book. Enjoyed it a lot.
Did you watch it recently or?
Yeah, maybe like a month ago. I
Oh,
watched
okay.
it.
I've seen a few clips. And it is a property that I enjoy enough that I'm not trying to shit on it out of context, I guess. I know I need to watch the full movie in its entirety. You can't just watch clips. So
Right. Well, mhm.
maybe I'll watch it one day. Who knows?
They announced this. They announced actually yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't know. On May 15th, later this week, Disney Plus is getting an animated show called Fury Files, which is gonna follow Nick Fury and his top secret access to Shield intel
Wow, incredible.
to build on the Marvel. Do you think of this as just?
Tell me more, Adam.
I'm saying, would you watch the show? Do you think of this as something that?
No.
I agree.
No, that doesn't sound entertaining in the least. I'm sorry.
We'll see how it does.
I mean, shit. The only reason these DC fucking comic or these DC cartoons get any kind of like traction is because aren't they like they're like M-rated, so they do like graphic ass shit. And I feel like I as an adult have no interest in a PG cartoon about Nick Fury. Maybe if they made it fucking M and he was like killing people and it
Even then,
mattered.
The
Even
one
then, yeah, even
screenshot.
then. Yeah, unless you could like swear to me that it mattered in some way to the MCU, that's the only way you could get me to watch that shit.
The screenshot of it makes it look kind of 90s Spider-Man. It's a little cringe.
I don't have much more to say about that.
Yeah, I don't even have Disney Plus, so I'm not
I have
not
Disney
gonna be
Plus,
watching
and I
that.
will never watch that. I mean, end of story.
Yeah.
You don't have Disney Plus, Jason? You don't want to watch Star Wars every night?
No. I don't want to watch Star Wars most nights.
Now there are two of them.
He's
Yeah, I really
remarking.
do like the Phantom Menace, so
Oh
good for
gosh,
you.
the
I don't
worst
care.
one.
I don't care.
The
Yep, I
worst
have an
one.
unpopular.
Let me see. Into the Spider-Verse.
It's fun.
Number 2 got a 2022 release date.
Good for them.
They're
I'm proud.
rebooting
What else can we
Transformers
talk about?
again.
Disney.
They're
Disney.
rebooting Transformers again, 2022.
Disney cock.
That might not be
Delicious.
bad because if they reboot it and they take out the whole Shia LaBeouf /
Didn't they already
romance.
reboot it? They just rebooted it, didn't they?
Yeah, with Bumblebee.
Oh, who watched Bumblebee? Honestly,
I heard it
did.
was good. I heard
it was a
good.
great
Oh,
fucking
gosh.
movie.
Yeah, look at that.
It was
supposed to be really
Transformers
good.
without Michael Bay. Guess what? That's
Yeah.
a good movie.
That sounds like a very boring Transformers, honestly.
Are you supporting Michael Bay's Transformers?
I feel like it
First
wasn't
one is
bad.
solid.
First one's good.
The rest are shit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's harsh. That's really harsh.
I kind of gotta agree. 2 is a pretty big slog. I think so.
It goes
2.
up and it gradually. Just...
Let me see if I can remember. 2 has Optimus Prime. He gets killed in the forest by Megatron, right? Does that happen in 2 or 3?
I want to say that's the third one.
In 3rd, he dies and comes back to life. They got to get like the Allsparks maybe in the first one.
But this is why Transformers was never that great of like a series. Like, yeah, it was visual. Like the whole thing was visual with Transformers. Being able to see that shit in like kind of realistic terms was amazing. But if you go back now and try and be like, all right, well, what happened in this one and what happened in this one? It all blends together. Nothing.
That's
really
my point, though.
sticks out.
Okay,
Yeah.
but so that's my point. There's no, it's nothing of remarkable. And hey, guess what? I'm trying to think of imagery, and I can think of the first Transformers. I can think of some fight scenes, like when they come into Earth. When they're fighting in the city, I can kind of visualize it. But in terms of fight scenes for 2 and 3, 3 had the big buildings falling and Shia LaBeouf like sliding. I can see that. I remember
Optimus being killed in the forest. I can remember.
In the forest, I can remember that. And I remember a pyramid transforming or something. There was a big pyramid in the sand, and that was like, oh, that's a big robot. And then he died. I remember. I was like, wow.
It was like a robot lion dog thing that was sucking.
And I remember it felt like I was watching a Final Fantasy summon where it was happening and it was like 2 minutes long, and I was like, yeah, they're still transforming. Yeah, okay.
It was the original Knights of the Round.
Yeah, something like that.
You sit there for 3 minutes and you watch it.
Yeah.
We just lost like all of our Transformers fans. Thank you.
That's
guys.
fine. No, I'm not shitting. We like Beast Wars on this show, and I'm not, the old Transformers animated movies are good, and I'm giving Michael Bay's Transformers 1 credit. That's a good movie to me. It was well written. I remember the plot of the movie. Okay.
Problem is like with like I think a lot of the Godzilla movies struggled with this as well as the actual thing, like the actual reason you're going there is so big.
It's the spectacle,
yeah, that they then focus too much on like the small things, like the humans. You know, when I go see a Transformers movie, I don't want to see a guy like learning what love is.
Okay, you say
that's a great fucking argument, I think.
Yes.
Godzilla, Transformers, there's too much focus on the humans themselves.
Oh God.
Well, we have a guest today on the podcast.
No, he's gone.
We did.
Anyway, no, I see what you're saying, and I've heard people make this gripe at him about the people in these movies. But I mean, look, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox are not detrimental to the first Transformers. They are helpful. You know, like they are part of what you remember, their performances and shit. Yeah, and 2 and 3, it's fucking dumb. But again, I think that's because those are bad scripts and bad stories.
Yeah,
it's more of a spectacle. And I want to get into Godzilla because I have a lot to say about that, actually, as someone that likes Godzilla movies. But I guess you can't get away with it anymore after Marvel. Marvel ruined your spectacle without a story argument because they have the biggest spectacles and they have pretty good stories in these movies as well. So you can't get away. That's why Godzilla doesn't get a pass anymore. And that's why the Transformers don't get a pass anymore either, you know.
Yeah, I just like I don't know. I have a big issue when I go see a Godzilla movie. I want to see Godzilla. I want to see Godzilla fighting another monster. You know, I want to see that throwdown. I don't want to see people talking about their theories of life. You know, why we need to stop hurting the earth. You know, that stuff is real cringy. Because
it was laughable. That was look.
At
I took Jade to go see King of the
King of the
Monsters.
Monsters.
We went and saw it in IMAX because I really wanted to see it in IMAX. And we walked out of the movie, and I mean, quote, I was like, "I'm sorry, I took you to see that movie." I said, "I apologize right now. I'm gonna apologize beforehand because I know that you didn't really like it that much."
Those trailers were amazing, though,
No, and to Mike's credit, when
and the
especially
movie
at
was
the
solid.
end, when they're in the city and like Ghidorah and Godzilla are going at it in the city, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed when is it Rodan? I think it's Rodan. I enjoyed all of their interactions too. I didn't like when Ghidorah and Godzilla fought in like the Antarctic or the snow. I felt like there was way too much going on the screen. I couldn't follow it visually at all. Like it was just very muddled.
It looked like
And
a Michael Bay Transformers film.
no, it looked worse than that, dude. I could not. I was like, dude, you have got to get the snow off the fucking screen. Like, it's way too much. Like, I mean, I could not. Again, visually, I'm trying to imagine it, and it's just a blur of shit. Like, but those other fights, they did them quite well, you know. Like, and I remember quite a bit about them, especially the end. You know, it was boss when Godzilla was like going Nova or some shit, dude. It was really, really cool. Again, if that's what you want to see, the humans, yes, I guess they are the backdrop, but that doesn't mean that you can give them laughably bad dialogue. When the Asian guy is talking, I can't even remember what it was. I think they're trying to revive Godzilla, and he's giving like his serious talk. And does he say something like he read it in a fortune cookie? I can't remember what he said.
It wasn't
I-
a fortune
I don't remember
cookie.
that.
It was like a legend, basically.
Dude, we were rolling our like I was rolling my fucking eyes like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm listening to this. Like it was so laughably bad.
Isn't that exactly the issue with Transformers? Like literally Shia LaBeouf says to like Megan Fox, like, "You're more than meets the eye." Like really?
It's
Give
look,
me a break.
Shia LaBeouf is likable and he's funny. You cannot admit that even if you go back and watch that, he's not like a good funny actor. Like he's not boring when he's on screen. Shia LaBeouf is not on the screen and I'm like, oh my god, I'm falling asleep. Like in Godzilla when I'm watching it, they're trying to talk about like I have a guy yelling about his fucking daughter when like this city is being utterly destroyed. Where's my daughter and shit? And I'm like, bro, like there's millions of people dying around you, and you're like, oh, dude, and that's why it's ridiculous. They're driving like the Jeep through like their legs and shit, and I'm like, I can't take like this.
Sounds
is
just like
laughably.
Transformers. If you ask
It
me.
does. It does. So again, to the later Transformers credit, to their detriment, to 2 and 3's detriment, yeah, like you're like transforming while you're catching Shia LaBeouf fighting like Megatron, and you're like, how
shit
can
was
it,
ridiculous.
you would be mangled to death, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I remember watching that, like he's trying to protect him while like he's fighting, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Like, what is physics? Like, what is like blunt force trauma? Like, Anyway, though, dude, I loved the action, especially in King of the Monsters, and I did enjoy the original Godzilla. I might have actually liked it more than King of the Monsters.
Which original Godzilla are you saying?
I'm talking about like the first reboot of this American version. When Brian Craig, no, not that one.
No, because there's Godzilla 2000, and then there's the new Godzilla, and then there's King of the Monsters.
You know, I don't mean Godzilla 2000.
I was
you know, I
for a
don't mean that.
second. I mean, I thought maybe you really liked that version of
I
Godzilla.
like Godzilla 2000, so y'all can fuck off.
Wow, really? What a statement right there.
Tell me what you like about it.
Yes, please.
Elaborate.
I just think it's a quality fucking story.
What's quality about the story?
Like a dinosaur who has little dinosaurs.
Look, I don't even have
the whole concept of their whole idea of the nuclear weapons created it, and
that's every
he just
Godzilla
happens
plot.
to show up
in New York.
I don't know.
I don't even dog the design because I get it. It was like early CG. They were trying something different. They were trying to Americanize it. Like, I don't dog it for that. I just, I've seen the movie quite a few times. And again, I can't remember much about the plot other than there are baby Godzillas and they try to lure him onto the bridge with fish to capture him. And it doesn't
Yeah.
work, but then it does work. I don't know.
There are eggs. There are eggs that they have to take care of. I
At
don't
least
know.
in these new Godzillas, there are, the core is Godzilla has to fight another Goliath creature, monster. What are they called? There's a name for these things. Why am I
Oh,
forgetting it?
oh yeah, they're called like not sentinels or it's
No,
something like that
boy.
though.
I see. I'm gonna lose my fucking cred card real hard for this.
I mean,
Fuck, why
dude,
can't I
who
remember what they're called?
Kaiju.
Kaijus, thank you.
that's just a
Yeah.
name for
That's the
monster.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
a
that's the
mon-
term. That's the term that's used.
Yeah, that's what
Is that
weaves call it, man. Kaijus.
they're the
Okay.
So
kaiju.
and I liked 2000. I liked the I don't know what year it was. Maybe 2012, 2000. No, 2016 was the first new Godzilla with Bryan Cranston. He's in it for like 20 minutes.
Mhm.
I
Uh,
enjoyed how slow it was and like the build up to
it was
this.
2014.
Yeah, I enjoyed what they did with that movie. A lot of people, like, and it's a valid argument. Like, yes, you're there to see the monsters, but like when you're being teased a lot and then they kind of like go at it at the end, I feel like it's this big build up and there's a good, you get what you paid for. And I don't know.
I don't know. The payoff
uh,
of him at the end of that film
He felt much
when
more
he pins
massive.
the monster down, like the
Fucking yeah,
kaiju down, rips
just
open his mouth
fucking yeah,
and just shoots that nuclear
yeah.
beam. You're just like, money
Damn.
shot.
Yeah. Dude, and I will say, like, it felt so like massive. Like it was almost like he was slower. Like it was more like lumbering, but it was like all this power behind him in the first one. Like in the second one, he was more Godzilla-y, but it didn't feel like as weighted. Like I
I think
didn't
it's because there were
feel
so many
like
there were so many monsters that he felt small in comparison. Because
okay.
a lot of them were bigger than him.
That's a good point.
We'll look at the other like Godzilla movies, not talking about the ones where CG is like the
Prominent.
is amazing, like where it is now, which I think that's why these new Godzilla movies are what they are, because the monsters look fantastic.
Yeah, because they can make them for once. They can make them look real.
But I feel like if you go back into Godzilla's history, probably like for me, I enjoyed King Kong versus Godzilla, which the original. There's a scene where they find Godzilla like in an ice cube, basically, and he starts to reawaken and get himself out of this ice cube, and it looks fantastic. It looks great. It's like the best scene. But like the rest of the movie where he's actually fighting King Kong was just like it's two guys in a suit. One guy just threw another guy through like a Lego building, and and so like, but even that was more centric towards the monsters, and I feel like that's why, like, yeah, there was a little bit of human storyline, some wacky human storylines in that series of Godzilla, but it's not you don't overdose on like the storylines like they're doing now. And I feel like it's to like draw you in and appreciate like, oh, so this is why this could happen, and stuff like that. But it's like that's against the entire point. Is they're huge monsters. This will never happen.
Yeah.
So why spend that shoe leather and try and like explain all that stuff?
Well, didn't Shin Godzilla do exactly that? And isn't that why I got a bunch of praise? Is because Shin Godzilla like focused on the political side of it, like what would actually happen if this creature was a thing, and like all the politics and the political red tape and all this shit.
Because
I think that's why
everyone wants to
people
see
really.
politics in a movie.
I'm just saying, people talk super. I haven't seen Shin Godzilla, but people talk super highly about it. Yeah, maybe the political scientist does. But that was nominated for like Japan's like best fucking film of that year. Like it was, and a lot of people like it's won a bunch of shit. Like I just know Shin Godzilla gets a bunch of high praise, and it's because of like its very realistic portrayal of what would actually happen. No, I don't think that you can spin 20 movies off of this concept.
Mm.
But for just like something to try, I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know. I also like the first reboot Godzilla because it was like more secretive too. You know, it again to that credit, it's like, what if it actually existed? Like clearly people
Yeah,
would
the
keep this like
military in New
under
York.
wraps. Yeah, like oh, and Bryan Cranston has like the no, they said it was a nuclear accident, but that's not what it is. And that I really liked that whole like conspiracy angle of like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, they would
that's
try
in
to
them
keep
both.
this shit under. Are there alien pyramids in Antarctica? We just don't know.
They really need to give the whole nuclear Godzilla exploding on himself like a rest. I'm so sick of that. Like we don't want to watch Godzilla microwave himself. Like I'm sorry.
Didn't they do that? They did that at the end. That's kind of
A
what he was
bunch.
doing. Wasn't he going nuclear?
Yeah, it's not just that one. Like and even that guy you were talking about how he's like reminiscing, going on about the legends of Godzilla. Of course, he's the one, spoiler alert, that drops the bomb,
Yeah.
and then he connects with Godzilla for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Hey,
Like,
what's up, man?
yeah, exactly. But it's like that storyline is so overtold, and
Yeah.
it's just like, come on, we want to see Godzilla busting like buildings down, shooting his like nuclear breath at other monsters and stuff like that. We don't want to see Godzilla collapsing under his own weight. Like that's like senior citizen Godzilla.
Yeah.
Don't want to
Senior
watch
Well,
citizen.
that.
but don't you have to make him go nuclear and like die because or whatever? Doesn't it spawn his Destructora, whatever the fuck his name is? I can't think of what it's called. What? No, that's they used the oxygen bomb on him. It
Yeah,
fuck it.
which is
Which I guess
ridiculous.
what did they hint? They hinted at is it Mecha Godzilla or Mecha Ghidorah? I think is what they hinted at.
Yeah, it
I
would be
can't
Mecha
remember.
Ghidorah.
Yeah, because at the end I think they get like a head or something. I don't know what they get. So I guess they're gonna do Mecha Ghidorah if there's a third, or if
Or
there's one after Godzilla
Kong
versus
versus,
Kong.
which
It's gonna be fantastic, hopefully.
I don't know how you make that fight happen. Whatever.
They're gonna
Kong
make
is
Kong a lot
Kong is
bigger.
big, but Godzilla can shoot lasers out of his mouth. So
Yeah, but it's that strength versus dexterity argument. He's gonna be like leaner and faster, where Godzilla's gonna be like more bulky and lumbering.
And
Sure,
they're both
he can
and
kill
they're
you with
both
a plasma beam
both
if he
kind
can
of
hit
good
you.
guys.
Yeah, that's
They're
gonna
both
be
good
it's
guys.
the
So
Batman
what the fuck?
versus Superman argument. Yeah, how do you make them fight each other? Like,
Well,
I guess they're giant monsters, so it's easier.
in the original, there's two separate endings. Each one
Oh,
was
okay.
for one was for the American audience, and the other was for the Japanese audience. And the Japanese King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla wins. They both fall into the ocean, and Godzilla comes out on top.
Yeah, that was a political thing
And
because Godzilla was a Japanese symbol and Kong was an American symbol.
yeah, but
Ooh,
I mean,
political
he should have the
scientist.
advantage. He should have the advantage
I'm just
in the
saying.
water. Like a monkey that, I mean, unless he starts Hulk jumping,
I
you
like the
know.
fact that you're trying to like critically analyze the giant King Kong versus
Hey,
the nuclear created Godzilla. And Adam's completely right. The only reason Kong won in America is because it's an American property. Of course he's gonna
in
win.
the other
But
Godzilla movies, they show Godzilla swimming around like a submarine, like on full blast. Like he literally is like, grease lightning underwater. So that was my biggest issue. Is like, he should have beat him if it went into the water. Um,
I haven't seen any of those movies. So I couldn't quote on it. But like I said, I guess in terms of how to make them fight, it's a lot easier than Batman versus Superman. You don't have to have a convoluted plot. Like it can just be, oh, what was the plot of King of the Monsters? Oh, these are other alphas.
yeah.
So Godzilla has to, King Kong gets off of his island. He's an alpha. Like, they just fight. That's what they do. It's in their nature.
If that,
There's your plot right there.
I mean, hopefully it's something like their fight is stopped over something other than Martha.
Yeah, right. Mothra. Is
Mothra. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, but it won't. Yeah, it's gonna be a common enemy, and maybe it'll be fucking. Maybe they'll go all in on Mecha Ghidorah. Who knows? That will be, Godzilla can't beat him. He needs King Kong to beat him. So
we'll see.
Is there supposed to be a fourth? I thought this was supposed to be like a 4-movie universe. Oh, it already is. Godzilla, King Kong, King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah. Okay.
But if it does well, they're gonna fucking tack on still.
But they have to get the property rights again. So I don't know. Coming off of Godzilla had like pretty good reviews and a decent box office. King Kong had good reviews and a good box office. King of the Monsters, I know got hit by critics. Great. Yeah, it didn't do great, and it got hit by critics pretty hard.
I will say this though: in the original Godzilla movies, they had a lot of storylines where like aliens would show up and like fuck with Godzilla and the other monsters. Now it looked real bad because it looked like a '60s version of Japanese Star Trek.
I mean, they all looked real bad back then.
Right. Yeah. But now I feel like that would be an amazing Godzilla to watch.
You think introducing aliens into your already?
It would be like Independence Day meets Godzilla. Like
no,
it's already
it's
a difficult to believe world, and then you're gonna introduce aliens.
Yeah, no,
it's not a thing that's based on reality. Like
I have to agree with Adam here. These movies kind of catch shit because it's so hard to make them grounded. It's the Snyder universe. How do you ground these heroes or these characters in like a realistic setting? And it's tough enough to do with. Maybe that's why King Kong always comes off as more realistic, because it's on like a fantasy island where a monkey can grow really big. Where when Godzilla exists, okay, he can exist because of a nuclear accident, but everyone else is so fantastical. Like, Ghidorah is a fucking alien? So he's already an alien.
I feel like you guys are looking for like the Christopher Nolan version of like.
I feel like that's what I'm not looking for. That's just what they've already created. You have 3 Christopher Nolan films. You can't just make the Michael Bay Godzilla now.
No, see, I like what I'm trying to say would be like Avengers, the first Avengers movie, where they have to fight against those aliens that are invading, and it looks great, and like, yeah.
Is that memorable?
Yeah.
Who are those aliens,
in
Mike?
retrospect, it wasn't that great of a film.
Yeah, because they're nameless enemies. It's just foot troopers.
That's what it was. They needed Godzilla.
They had Hulk. They already had Hulk.
I mean,
moving on.
The Avengers is a good film. The first Avengers is pretty good. It's a little dated, I guess, but it's good. It's written well. So I remember the man's name, Josh Whedon. It's because it's written by Josh or Joss, whatever the fuck you want, Josh Whedon.
Give him Godzilla.
It's pronounced Josh. I don't know why.
Give him Godzilla. Throw some Klingons.
But all I'm saying is it's written well. So the dialogue and the script holds up very well. Sure, like some of the, especially towards the end when they're fighting the aliens, might look corny when you compare it to like Infinity War. But, the writing holds up today. You can't say the same thing about fucking Godzilla.
Yeah, but
I love Godzilla.
But those movies are semi realistic, in the sense of like if this was
You're talking about Godzilla or Avengers?
Avengers, like it's.
But they both are semi realistic. They both do even the new Godzillas are very fucking reserved. Like they tried to make them real. That's why you have the human element in it. Like, oh my god, look at the tragedy. Which is why when you have them like chasing their daughter the whole movie, you're just like, I mean, I can't.
But that's
you're
like
human
saying
drama.
Transformers is realistic. They try and make Transformers super realistic.
So again, maybe that's why Transformers 1 comes across as more grounded, because it is like it's a contained story where they only get into the city right at the very end. And even then it's pretty reserved. They're fighting in the streets, but there's not like all this super big collateral damage, which is why maybe in the later movies, it just feels like I can't take this shit seriously because you have skyscrapers falling over and shit.
I don't know, man. Just for me personally, when I'm seeing movies like Avengers, like unless it's something like Batman or something like grounded, very grounded in like reality, where like Batman,
Okay.
out of all the superheroes, if you trained really hard and were rich, you could potentially be Batman. Like
Okay.
that is
Mhm.
doable. But
Assuming you're at least like 6 feet.
right, which I am.
And
And
superhuman
so
slightly.
but characters like Thor, the Hulk, you're starting to go off into like a little bit way more fantasy, unrealistic,
Yeah.
and I feel like doing those like that would be like imagine a super serious Hulk movie. We got that. It was the one with Edward Norton and it was garbage. And
I
Nope.
like that
That
movie. I like
uh
that movie.
see
the parts with
Good.
Edward Norton were good until you introduced some awful CGI counter Hulk bullshit.
see Mark Ruffalo I just feel like was a way superior
He's a good. They
Hulk.
were both
Don't
good.
say actor because he's not.
No, he's a better cast, but Ed Norton's still a really good actor. I mean, he was good in that film.
No,
I
yeah,
think
he
he was. I
was.
think Edward Norton was limited to that movie, 100%. But yeah, I
Yeah, how yeah, I guess. I could see that. How would he have meshed with these actors in future roles? Like, could you see Ed Norton being in the Avengers?
He
Like
wouldn't have because he's not going to take
the pay cut. Yeah,
he's not going to take the B slot to Robert Downey Jr.
exactly. Yeah, especially
His
writing.
ego is what got him fired in the first place.
Who
That's
was
why he got
supposed to play
that's
Iron
why he got
Man?
that's why he
Was it
got
was it was
replaced.
it Tom Cruise? Was he slated to play Iron Man? Am I crazy when I say that? Tom Cruise was supposed to play someone, either Captain America or Iron Man. I
oh
can't
wow, that
remember
would have
which.
been the worst Captain
I'm
America.
like imagining it. I'm like, how would that have
I don't
gone?
remember that, but
The shield would have been bigger than like his entire upper body. It would have been so bad. It would have like a giant science symbol on it too.
Well, you
Like,
know, that's why a lot of people think that he took the mummy role is because he like didn't get he still got paid top billed, but he like took a cut because they were marketing it as like the Universal monster movie universe, and this was the first one. So what he did is he
Mhm.
took like the Robert Downey Jr. deals. He's hey, look, I'll take less money because on the back end, if these are successful, I will make a lot more down the road. Clearly, we saw how that played out.
see, like harking
yeah,
back to
because no one clearly saw that movie, including
Oh,
me,
I
because
downloaded it and watched it,
you
and yeah,
watched it.
I wanted to see. Look, I'm a fan of Tom Cruise.
I want my Brendan Fraser mummy back.
yes, yes, and that's exactly what I was getting at is the fact that
You
like
Funny,
reboot that shit, I'll watch it.
it's 21 years old. Actually, it just turned 21 years
I'll
old
watch it
like 4
again.
days ago.
Brendan
You
Fraser is
come
so
out with you come
charming.
out with another one of those, I'll watch it.
There was an argument. I was reading an argument about like, was that the last great adventure movie? And I'm sure you can make, like National Treasure can be on that list and some others. But yeah, I was like, ooh, like I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, maybe franchise wise, it was one of the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
few ones, but
Yeah, it's
like
a good point.
but even when Adam was talking about the reboot of Hercules, like if you don't have Kevin Sorbo in it involved one way or another, like I don't know, I don't think there are certain people that are just casted into these roles that are just cemented. And I feel like Tom Cruise, he's a humongous movie star. He has an army of a legion of Scientologists behind him. You know, he's you know, he, but he was that movie was a horrible, horrible movie.
And you could
Um,
tell. I mean, you could tell from the trailers, like you knew right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like,
like it doesn't get much more blockbuster of a name than Tom Cruise, but
yeah.
it's I would argue it's because Brendan Fraser did such a good job. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to see that.
And I know I guess you guys didn't watch it. It was kind of jarring, like seeing the 50-something-year-old Tom Cruise. Like that was his character. He tried to play like the goofy, arrogant American who's charming. And like you're just watching it and you're like, stop. Like, who wrote this shit and
What
thought
he
that you could like you needed a Chris Pratt is what you needed. Like you needed that guy. The young the young action star guy, Brendan Fraser. He can pull off an arrogant, charming American. Like Tom Cruise in his 50s, he could have done it if he was younger. He can't do it now. Like it
Yeah, he's
just
an asshole, but he's still likable.
yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't. Yeah, you're like, what are you saying, Tom Cruise?
Like, imagine if they tried to have someone else play Picard.
yeah, that's
You
a
know
good
what
point.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, good
Well,
luck. Good luck.
I would argue they did Chris Pine. Chris Pine did William Shatner, and I bet some of the purists like rolled in their graves. They're like, oh, I can't believe it.
Well, no, I mean, I think they would maybe go to like a James McAvoy, like to play a young, because
I
that
was
seems,
just saying
This
it
is who you go
age-
to,
yeah.
saying
James
age,
McAvoy. Why? Because he was an X-Men.
I mean, that seems to be like the best young version of Picard. But yeah, Pine.
Would you make him a hothead? He'd be a hothead in the academy. He'd be like completely not like his character.
gruff.
Yeah. He'd have to learn to be humble.
But even Chris
Yeah.
Pine's version of Shatner, I thought was not that bad. But he's still never gonna be like the Shat.
Yeah, yeah.
So...
And to his credit, he's trying to capture this man's whole, TV episodic character in a 2-hour film.
Mhm.
So yeah, the features are going to be exaggerated. Yeah, he's a little arrogant. He's a little hot-headed. He's a little off the sleeve. No, this isn't his character, but unfortunately, this is what people remember about him. Just like Picard. Picard is, calculated and caring and all this shit. 95% of the time, there are times when he isn't like that, but obviously these are, the traits that he's memorable. So
It is what it is. Was there anything else that y'all wanted to cover this week?
no, fine.
No, I think we covered everything.
Got nothing. I got to get ready for work.
Well, let everybody know where they can find you, Mike.
At the _Renrag.
Just on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
Jason, you still have no social media at all.
He can be found at Cantaloupe. Good luck.
There you go. Yep.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Just search
Google that. Yeah.
search Cantaloupe with an odd spelling. You can find me at XALNXTV on Twitter and Twitch. That's going to be all this week for Nerdy Drunk and Stoned. Please be sure to comment down below, share it with your friends, like and subscribe. And if you want to get updates about future videos, be sure to click that bell icon. And we're going to see you all next week.